after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. After the first day in NBA history to feature two road teams winning Game 7, the conference finals take the floor starting tomorrow in the East. The Celtics will host the Pacers. ESPN's Michael Wilbon.
I hope that we see the Pacers team that plays like they're dealing with house money. Free and easy, and we got nothing to lose. We're here at least a season too early or earlier than forecast, and just let it rip. I don't know if the Pacers are capable of that, but it would be fun to see them approach it that way.
Mike Wilbon, every game the rest of the way in the NBA playoffs is right here on ESPN Radio. Our Mark Schleybaugh reports Scottie Scheffler's arraignment is pushed back to June 3rd. It was originally set for tomorrow. Scheffler faces multiple charges. He was arrested Friday, just before the second round of the PGA Championship. Even though they lost 8 of their last 9 games last season, the Colorado Buffaloes sell out their football season tickets for the second year in a row. The Buffs go back to the Big 12 after 13 years in the Pac-12.
Feeling great starts with a great shave, and great shaves start with Barbasol Shaving Cream. That's Barbasol Shaving Cream, an American classic for over 100 years. Close Shave America. Close Shave Barbasol.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tumbly. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Kim Mulkey next hour as she's announced an historic hire to her staff. We'll preview LSU Georgia from the SEC tournament. David Dellucci, Kendall Rogers talking some bubble. We got a lot to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, LSU baseball did exactly what it needed to do. It went out this weekend and swept Ole Miss. When we were here on Friday, of course, they had already won the series. The only matter at hand was, could LSU do something it had not done all year, which was sweep an SEC weekend. They had to beat Ole Miss on Saturday, and they did just that. Sam Dutton got you the first 3 outs. You went to Nate Ackenhausen. You built a lead. Fidel Ulloa got out of a bases-loaded jam. Tommy Tanks hit a grand slam to put you up 8-0. It was all the offense the bullpen would need as LSU would go on to win 9-3, finish the sweep, and keep their regional hopes alive. So a lot of what today is going to be about from an LSU baseball perspective is what needs to happen for LSU to get into regional play. For whatever it's worth, today D1 Baseball has their updated regional projections. They do have LSU in among 11 SEC teams in. I do not necessarily believe that is going to happen. Conversations I've had today, and the committee, I can tell you, has been meeting and met after this weekend. I think the 2 teams that are in the most precarious situation based on the conversations I had are actually Florida and Vanderbilt. But LSU on Tuesday against Georgia could lock and throw away the key their regional berth. But we'll get there in a second. Of course, a big part of why they had the weekend they did was the offense of Tommy White, who was awesome. Tommy White today was named the SEC Player of the Week. He hit 615 this weekend. That is absurd. 615. He was 8 of 15, hit 3 homers, had 6 extra base hits, had his first career triple, 7 RBI, was on base at a clip of 643. What a way for Tommy White to bid farewell to Alex Box Stadium. Absolutely insane. This is how the grand slam on Saturday sounded that put LSU up 8-0.
First pitch to White, launched in the air, right field. Going back is Hughes. He will watch it. Tommy White, grand slam, and the Tigers lead 8-0.
Tommy White was awesome. He homered twice on Saturday, and what a way to go out. As it would have it, his final bat at the box was a pop out to center, but nonetheless, got a standing ovation as he left the field. And Tommy White, his place in LSU history, his legacy is secured, and he's a guy we'll talk about for as long as they keep playing baseball out at Alex Box Stadium. So now the attention turns to what is ahead for LSU. For what enough. Can you play number 2, please? This was Jay after LSU swept Ole Miss, making the case for LSU to be in the field of 64.
I don't think us being in the postseason should even be a discussion. Like, we have the players, we passed the eye test, and we have 23 wins outside of the league. We have 36 wins as an SEC team. Like, this is like no-brainer. And we're not just being evaluated against other SEC teams. You know, you're being evaluated around the country, and there's some very favorable things. If you look at it deeply, like our record versus somebody else against common opponents, like, we went out on all of those with bubble teams. And what I would say is, like, what this team did the last 5 weeks, I don't think there's 5 teams in America that can accomplish what these guys did the last 5 weeks. They're the ones we're chasing in our league that made it hard on us the first time around when you talk about, and we beat one of them. You know, we beat one of them in Texas A&M, so 2 out of 3. So there's only 5 teams in America that could probably do that. So proud of the team and really just want to keep going.
Jay Johnson has to lobby for his guys, and he should. You should absolutely stand up and make your case. And the committee might hear it. They might not. They might adhere to it. They might not. Here's what LSU is fighting against. And look, we talked about this all last week, right? There's never been a team under the current format to go 12-18 in SEC play and earn a regional berth. Had LSU lost one of those games against Ole Miss, they'd have been at 12-18, and they'd be solidly out of the field. And their only way in would be to win the SEC tournament, which I don't believe that's going to happen. In winning and sweeping Ole Miss, getting the 13-17, you have given yourself a chance. The unfortunate part for LSU is they got none of the help they needed this weekend. And as it panned out, there are 5 SEC teams currently at 13-17. 5. And of those 5, LSU is very clearly 5th on the resume. If you want to talk about RPI, KPI, strength of schedule, common opponents, head-to-head, quad 1 wins, LSU is 5th among those 5, which is why you're in a very precarious situation. I mean, just think of it this way. If LSU hadn't gagged away the 9th inning against Alabama in Game 1, you'd be at 14 wins, you'd be 7 in the SEC, and you would be a total lock for the field right now. Instead, because you finished tied 13-17, Bama, Vandy, Florida, South Carolina, all with the same record. 3 of those 4 own a head-to-head series win against you, and all have a better RPI, better strength of schedule, and the head-to-head. Like, objectively, their resumes are better than yours. So I don't think if you're LSU, you're comfortable. Now, I just told you I had conversations today, and I believe that if the committee was putting out a field today, that LSU would be in. But there's a long way to go. If you lose tomorrow, now you've put yourself in a very precarious situation where you are biting fingernails, holding your breath, looking at bid stealers around the country. Because I got news for you. Indiana State is getting in no matter what. They need to win their league. East Carolina needs to win the American Conference because they're getting in no matter what. San Diego is getting in the field of 64. You need them to win their tournament. Otherwise, that's a bid stealer. So you're going to need some help around the country to make this an easier week. But the best thing LSU can do is go beat Georgia. If you beat Georgia on Tuesday, Georgia has an RPI of 6. If you beat Georgia, that's a quad 1 win. It's a top 10 win. It gets you to 14 SEC wins. And, oh, by the way, the 5 teams that I mentioned that are all 13 and 17, 4 of them play each other on Tuesday. Alabama plays South Carolina. Vandy plays Florida. It is plausible to think that the loser of those 2 games could well be out. Now, I'm to understand that Bama is solidly in as the 7 seed. And South Carolina is in as well. But I think the Vandy-Florida loser absolutely is out of the field. They're on the outside looking in and holding their breath, waiting and looking at bid stealers. So, however it plays out, if LSU beats Georgia, I think this is over. I think they're in the field of 64 solidly. No matter what, they go lose their next 2. But if you beat Georgia, you're in. Locked up the bid, throw away the key. If you lose to Georgia, I think you're looking at bid stealers around the country, hoping and praying that it all works out for you by the time a week from today comes and the field of 64 is announced. So LSU has done what they needed to do to give themselves a chance going into Hoover. But to really feel good, you got to beat Georgia tomorrow. We will talk about LSU and Georgia in 1 hour from right now. Marc Weiszer, who covers the Georgia Bulldogs, will be here to give us a preview of that game. I don't think we'll know the pitching matchups probably until an hour before first pitch, but if we get any tidbits, we'll certainly let you know as we get closer. Okay, it's After Further Review. Show Open is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light. Hey, y'all, this is the week we're opening up the competition. Started to tell you last week, Saturday, June 1, UFC 302, Dustin the Diamond Poirier, proud endorser of Bud Light. He's a Bud Light athlete, headlining UFC 302 against Makhachev. It's up in New Jersey. Well, if you can't beat it in New Jersey, the best place to be is with us at the Sportsbook at L'Auberge. We've teamed up with Bud Light and the Sportsbook at L'Auberge to come up with a really cool package. So we'll have 8 winners. Each winner will get a +2. You'll be guaranteed a seat, a tabletop seat, at right in front of the big screen at the Sportsbook at L'Auberge. You get all the Bud Light you can drink and open food buffet the entire night for those 24 people. I'll be hanging out there. Remember, even if you don't win, it's totally open to the public. So Saturday, June 1st, make plans to be at the Sportsbook at L'Auberge. Come hang out with us. Watch, hopefully, the Diamond pull off a big win over Makhachev. I'm fired up about it. We'll start at 7 o'clock. If you want to enter, all you have to do is text DIAMOND, as in Dustin Poirier, DIAMOND, to our show text line. 225-3344. What? I forgot my show text line. 396-4400. I only say it 10,000 times. I just forgot it. 225-396-4400, 396-4400. You can only enter once. Text 225-396-4400. We'll pick our 8 winners at random. Again, 225-396-4400. Text the word DIAMOND. That's all you have to do to enter. And a week from Thursday, so the Thursday before the fights, we'll pick the winners. We're looking forward to it. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by our friends over at Parrish. That's me. That's Terrio. That's Richard Tilley. Parrish Construction and Roofing. Yo, we had awful weather last week. Awful hail in Baton Rouge around the LSU campus. Had a lot of calls today. Man, my goodness, parts west of Baton Rouge, Lafayette. Talked to a lot of friends in Jennings as well who had terrible hail. If you had high wind, Slidell, my goodness, the tornadic activity, high wind, heavy rain, hail, blown shingles off, all good signs that you may have roof damage. We'd love to come give you that free, no-obligation roofing inspection. All you got to do is go to parishbuilt.com. Do it right now, parishbuilt.com. For 3.5 years, I've told you, do business with someone you know. That hasn't changed. It's me, it's Ryan Terrio, it's Richard Tilley, it's Joe Morales. Trent Davis has jumped aboard our team. We continue to grow and expand. We're fired up. But our same crews that'll be there doing the work at your home, we're fired up to be under this new banner, and hopefully you'll join us. Parrish Construction and Roofing. Go to parishbuilt.com. Right on the homepage, fill out the form. Boom, we'll be in touch ASAP to get you scheduled for that free, no-obligation roofing inspection. Parishbuilt.com. That's parishbuilt.com for Parrish Construction and Roofing. Okay, quick break. We'll come back. If you want to get your feelings in, you always can. Email us, tweet us, text us. Lots of ways to get involved in the show. When we come back, Dennis Allen, Mickey Loomis at the Saints Hall of Fame golf tournament today talked about a couple interesting things. Actually, they made a run at bringing Andrews Pete back, and it didn't work out. And it seems like they've closed the door on the Lattimore trade conversations. You'll hear from the head coach and GM next on AFR.
AFR.
When things heat up, you don't just want a cold one. You want the coldest one. The cold lagered, cold filtered, cold packaged one. Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, Windows, Doors, Siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Saints Hall of Fame golf tournament was on Monday, which means it's an opportunity to hear from Mickey Loomis and Dennis Allen and the like. And there was a couple of interesting things out of this media availability that came out. One involving Marshawn Lattimore and his future with the team very definitively. I'll get to that in a second. But I thought this was interesting also. As the Saints are certainly in need of veteran offensive linemen, even after drafting Taliesin Fuanga. We know that they signed Lucas Patrick, who's a veteran interior player. I love the signing. We talked about him last week about how that's a very sneaky, underrated signing of a 30-year-old that's played all three positions on the interior. Matt LaFleur raved about him, called him the glue of their offensive line in Green Bay. I'm very excited about that signing and his opportunity on this team. But Mickey Loomis did acknowledge that they tried to re-sign Andrus Peat.
Andrus is a good example. We made, attempts to get him re-signed, and he chose to go someplace else, which that's what free agency is about. And look, Andrus was a good pick for us and played for us for a long time. Excited for him. I know he's got a new chapter. He's probably excited about a new team, and wish him nothing but the best of luck.
Yeah, so he didn't talk about, there was no disclosure there on terms of what the Saints offered. Perhaps it's one of those things where the Saints had what they were willing to offer Andrus Peat, and the Raiders went above it. Or maybe he felt like there were a better opportunity to make the team and to play in Las Vegas than in New Orleans. Who really knows what and why? Maybe Andrus Peat eventually will be transparent about that at some point. I'm sure that day will come eventually. But it goes to show you it's another admission by this front office that, yes, they realize very much so that you can, I say it all the time, actions speak louder than words. You can like your pick of Taliesin Fuanga. You can be hopeful and optimistic that Trevor Penning is ready to be a starter. But those are still giant question marks. And so you have to add veteran bodies. That's now 3 veteran offensive linemen the Saints have signed since the draft. And remember, they signed Oli Udoh before the draft. So that's 4 veteran free agent offensive linemen they've signed on top of drafting 2 linemen this year, including the number 14 overall pick. So yes, still a long way to go. But I thought it was interesting that they didn't just let Andrus Peat walk. They did try to re-sign him. He chose the Raiders. But I still happen to believe Lucas Patrick is a better option than Andrus Peat. The one difference there is Peat can play left tackle. Patrick isn't a tackle. So if they do end up needing a rotation there, they look somewhere else among the core of players they have trying to earn a roster spot. But maybe of greater importance was what Dennis Allen said about Marshawn Lattimore. Now, remember, if you connect the dots with us, and we've talked about this a good bit here over the past months, it's been sort of conflicting when Mickey Loomis has talked about Marshawn Lattimore. I mean, around the NFL meetings, it sounded like maybe Marshawn Lattimore could be a trade target, and then around the draft, seemingly close that door. But then we heard Loomis say, look, you could always consider if you get that Godfather type offer, the offer you can't refuse. So it made many wonder, like, well, are they looking at trading him? And when you look at Marshawn Lattimore's contract, which we talked about last week, there is a possibility. If you look at a post June 1 trade or release, the Saints would have a massive financial savings if they got rid of Lattimore. Then the real question is, what could you get for him? And we talked about it last week. I think there was a piece by Bill Barnwell up at ESPN.com that compared the Jalen Ramsey trade. And when Ramsey went from the Rams to the Dolphins, they got a 3. I mean, the Rams got a 3 for Jalen Ramsey. What would New Orleans get for Marshawn Lattimore, who's missed 17 games the last 2 years? They said 5 that could become a conditional 4. Which, if you're New Orleans, you essentially make the decision, well, is it worth saving the money and getting some asset for Lattimore, or having him help you win this year and possibly seeing him leave after this season? Or you restructure his deal next year and we see how it all plays out. But Dennis Allen told us point blank on Monday how this is going to go.
I had a conversation with him probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. I thought it was a positive conversation. And so, we're moving forward.
So we're moving forward. Positive conversation. We're moving forward with Lattimore on the team. I still don't know that definitively means, the way he says it, that there's no chance they move forward. But it sounds like Allen is saying, and Loomis said, that they're moving forward with Lattimore on the team. Great. Cleared the air, all that stuff. But one of the things that you're going to have to consider is Paulson Adebo. And I hadn't looked this deeply into it until last week I bumped across this thing over at PFF by Zoltan Boudet, and he ranked or listed what he said was the most underrated player on each NFL team. That's completely subjective, and that's not even the most interesting thing. But one of the things he pointed out was a comp with L'Jarius Sneed, who just signed a massive deal this offseason. L'Jarius Sneed, who had been with Kansas City, of course we know who is from Louisiana and from Minden, went to Louisiana Tech, was a third-round pick of the Chiefs, and just signed a free agent deal with Tennessee this offseason, valued at, here it is, $76.4 million. A 4-year, $76.4 million contract is what he signed this offseason in Tennessee. And the reason I bring that up, and keep in mind, Sneed is 27 years old. Paulson Adebo is 25 years old. So Sneed is 2 years older than Adebo. But since Adebo came into the league, Paulson Adebo is tied with L'Jarius Sneed with 33 passes defensed. And Sneed also has the same number of interceptions, 7, while playing in 4 more games than Adebo. So effectively, to say it in a cleaner way, since Adebo came into the league in 2021, he and L'Jarius Sneed have identical numbers. And Sneed just signed a 4-year, $76 million contract with Tennessee. So after this year, if Paulson Adebo plays at the level he's played up until this point in his career, it is certainly plausible to look and say Paulson Adebo would be in line for a deal that would parallel or mirror what L'Jarius Sneed got. So the New Orleans Saints have to sit back here and look. I mean, this obviously explains the Kool-Aid McKinstry signing or draft pick, because one of two things happens in this offseason. Next offseason, I should say. Either you're going to watch Marshawn Lattimore leave for all the financial reasons against the cap, or you're going to restructure that deal and extend him and watch Paulson Adebo sign a giant free agent deal somewhere else and leave. But either way, drafting Kool-Aid McKinstry gave you the security blanket that if you want to move on from Lattimore post-June 1 this year, you can. But if you keep Lattimore and want Lattimore beyond this season, you still have that option if you're not going to pay Paulson Adebo $76 million. Which, as odd as that is to say or think, because I don't think we've thought, you might think of that number financially as like a number one cornerback number, and it feels that way. He's played to that level. Paulson Adebo has played to that level. He just happens to be on the roster with a cornerback that signed a $100 million deal. Or $90 million deal. So some of that kind of starts to come into focus when you look at what the market likely will be for Paulson Adebo after this season if he plays at the level he has up until this point. And the Saints, quite honestly, may not be ready to pay that number, which might be why they're more inclined to say, let's continue riding with Marshawn Lattimore. Maybe we restructure next year with something that makes more sense financially. So all that we'll learn in due time. But every time Mickey Loomis or Dennis Allen speak on the record about the Lattimore situation, you better believe it's going to be interesting because he's an expensive player. He's a dynamic player when he's healthy, and you just used a second-round pick on a guy that you think could be a day one starter. And you have another guy at that same position who's in line for a potential $70+ million contract after this season. So a lot for this front office to juggle at that cornerback position. Okay, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Optimize. Man, y'all, if that weather last week didn't remind you of what's in store. I mean, we all know what happens living in the Gulf South. Storms are part of our reality. Power outages are part of our reality. We had a power outage last week in our home with all the bad weather. It was Monday, about 1 in the morning. I heard the sound machine in our room cut off because the power went out. About 15 seconds later, powered right back on because we have a Generac automatic home standby generator. And I know when I ask this question, the answer is unanimous. Do you want a Generac automatic home standby generator? Well, of course. Who doesn't? Yeah, the power goes out, boom, your power comes right back on because you got a generator that powers your whole house. Of course, everybody wants one of those. So the questions always are, well, who do you call? And can I afford it? Well, the can I afford it part is easy. At Optimize, they have financing options that could fit any budget. And right now, they have a Generac sales event that's offering a free 10-year warranty with the purchase. It's a free 10-year warranty with the purchase of your new Generac automatic home standby generator. And who do you call? Well, you call Optimize. Listen, it's funny. There's a lot of different companies that are licensed to sell Generacs, right? They have that contract. It's a commodity. It's the same product, right? It's a Generac automatic home standby generator. So Optimize sells it. Lots of companies sell them. Well, there's no company in Louisiana that sells more Generac automatic home standby generators than Optimize. Why? Because it's all they do. They're not an alarm company that also sells generators. They're not an HVAC company that also sells generators. They're not an electrical company that also sells generators. All they do is sell, service, and install Generac automatic home standby generators. That's why they're the best. They have 4 physical locations. So from Lake Charles to Slidell, any point in between on the 1012 corridor, they service. Their newest physical location is actually in Kenner, right off of the Loyola exit. It's if you're heading toward the airport, it's right there. So no matter where you are, they can come to you. It's Optimized. GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. Get that quote today, GeneratorPeople.com. Don't wait until the storm's in the Gulf. Call today or go to GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. We'll go around the SEC when we come back. Fired up for this. Kim Mulkey is going to be here in 45 minutes. If you missed it today, the greatest player in the history of her program is joining Kim Mulkey's staff. I got some thoughts on Simone Augustus joining the LSU staff coming up here after the break. We'll also go around the SEC. We're glad you're with us on this Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. Don't you move.
AFR.
Man, if I've heard this once, I've heard it 1,000 times from business owners, especially business owners that are having trouble with getting employees to show up consistently. It's, man, a car broke down, had to miss work for the birth of a child, whatever the case may be, that wasn't transparent at the beginning of the hiring process. If you want to get off of that hamster wheel, if you want to get out of the rat race, you want to hire employees that are going to be reliable, they're going to do the job, that are qualified, meet the physical requirements to do the job as well, you need Glow Resources. Glow Resources has a 93% retention rate. They place an employee in your job, they have a 93% retention rate. How does that sound? Oh, and by the way, if for whatever reason it doesn't work, they'll offer you a prorated refund or they'll find a new employee for free. It's Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Loomis for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to Six Rings Baseball.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Of course, the SEC baseball tournament gets underway Tuesday in Hoover. The league announced its annual awards today. Nick Mingione, the Coach of the Year, Charlie Condon of Georgia, who LSU will see on Tuesday, the SEC Player of the Year. All he did was hit .451 with 35 yaks. Are you kidding me? No LSU players on the first team, which is odd to see. But I always say, look, if you're gonna add someone, then who do you take off? And I don't know the answer to that. So Stephen Milam and Ashton Larson were both on the all-freshman team. You had 3 second-teamers: Griffin Herring, Luke Holman, and Tommy White. So obviously Tommy White plays third base where Charlie Condon plays, who was the SEC Player of the Year. So naturally, Tommy Tank's just a victim of circumstance there. But for LSU, 5 players honored. Again, 2 on the all-freshman team. Herring and Holman on the second team, joined by Tommy White. So congrats to the guys. And then I think someone had asked me last week who would be SEC Coach of the Year. Mingione is a no-brainer. I mean, a lot of coaches had great seasons, but that was a Kentucky team that a year ago obviously was in Super Regionals here in Baton Rouge. And coming into this year, I don't know that did they have a preseason vote to win the league? Do you know off the top, Muse? I don't think they did.
I don't recall LSU having one. Or you in Kentucky? Kentucky,
yeah.
Kentucky did not.
I mean, LSU did.
Did they?
Yeah, no, LSU did.
1 or 2?
I think it was 3 actually.
Okay.
But anyway, the point being, Nick Mingione, and we all looked at Kentucky early in the season, and the question week after week after week was, could they sustain it? And my goodness, did they sustain it? Could have helped LSU a little more this weekend. But nonetheless, congrats to Nick Mingione, SEC Baseball Coach of the Year. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Kim Mulkey is going to be here in about 45 minutes from right now or so. We're brought to you by Evermore. I got my bottle of Evermore right here with me every single day. If you watch the show, we got this one on the set, which is a prop, but down here I've got the bottle that I drink from during the show. It's natural artesian water. One of the things that I've learned that's been such an education for me is the benefit of healthier water. I always just thought, what's water's water? Drink out of the tap. No, not when I've learned what's actually in tap water. You can do your own research on it, but this is natural artesian water. This is absolutely untouched by human hands until you open the bottle and it touches air. I mean, they pipe down into this well right there on the North Shore of Louisiana, of Lake Pontchartrain in Covington. They pipe down into the well, they pump it into their filtration system, put it into the bottle, cap it, and then boom, you drink natural artesian water. It is crisp, it is fresh, it is smooth, it is delicious, it is perfected by nature. Evermore is a healthier option for your family. It's a better source of hydration if you're a performance athlete. Learn more at evermore.com, EVAMOR, evermore.com. You can order it online or you could pick it up at great local retailers. Did I mention this is a Louisiana product? Stop buying water from Great Louisiana. It's Evamore, EVAMOR. On the SEC.
You the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Florida Gators.
Former Arizona State wide receiver Elijah Badger has committed to Florida. Over 4 years with the star recruit, but he'll finish up his career there in Gainesville.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Former Miami of Ohio running back Rashad Amos has State out of Colorado season from South Carolina. In his recovery from a gunshot wound. Forgive me, that's liner there.
The Auburn Tigers.
My bad. Gunshot wound. Monday, Hugh Freeze, Brian Batty. There was a setback last night, and he's still on a ventilator. About 3:30 a.m. local time over the weekend. Batty's brother also was shot and was pronounced dead at the scene.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
A Georgia freshman, Jacoby White, was arrested Saturday morning on driving-related misdemeanor charges, reckless driving and another title, driving the wrong way on a one-way roadway. White was booked into jail at 3:04 a.m. and posted a $26 cash bond. $26. He was released at 4:04 a.m. Obviously, Georgia's had quite a run over the last year plus with driving-related instances. Freshman Jacoby White, the latest.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
State assigned Chris Jans to an extension through the 2027-2028 season. Jans had his base salary go up to $4.2 million from $3.2 million. That keeps him. I just tried to throw paper. Whatever. Yeah, so Chris Jans, the basketball coach at Mississippi State, he signed an extension.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
And Vandy got a transfer from Michigan State guard A.J. Hoggard. 4 years with the Spartans. He's now going to Nashville. There you go.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
I just need this to end before I hit her again. South Carolina transfer big man Josh Gray has committed to Missouri. We all remember Josh Gray started his career at LSU, was here for just a year, went to South Carolina where he's been for 3 years. Now the 7-footer is headed to Mizzou. Okay, there you have it. That is around the SEC. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Monday shows, as always, are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl, siding, they do it all. And I've been telling you all also at Relief Windows, they got that awesome 3D model if you haven't seen it yet. Like, I'm a very visual person, so being able to see a 3D model of a home, to see what the siding would look like, to see what the windows would look like, that's very helpful for me. Like, there's a lot of people, with instructions. Would you rather someone show you how to do it, tell you how to do it, or would you rather read how to do it? I'd rather someone show me how to do it. So I'm very visual. So the 3D model that Relief Windows has is super helpful for me, probably would be for you as well. So you can go on site there on Airline, go south on Airline in Prairieville, south of 42, and about a quarter mile on your right, you'll see the Relief Windows showroom. Schedule an appointment to go with one of their consultants so you can see that 3D model at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Okay, it's after further review. We'll knock out our final break here of hour number one. I do want to get some thoughts in on Simone Augustus joining Kim Mulkey's staff. Kim Mulkey is going to be here in 30 minutes from right now. We'll have her on the show, and always looking forward to having Coach, and we appreciate her time. But it's obviously super rare when a superstar player goes into coaching. It's not atypical for popular alums to go into coaching, but you're, in this case, literally talking about the greatest player in the history of the program coming back to coach on staff. And I have some thoughts on it, so we'll get to that when we come back. We're glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, oh man. Temps hit the 90s this weekend. And if you haven't done it yet, there's not much longer for me to continue to hammer this message into your brain about the preseason AC tune-up from River City's 1 Hour Air. Because pretty soon, it's not going to be the preseason anymore. You're going to be into the summer season, and this opportunity is going to be gone. Call River City's 1 Hour Air. Let them come out to your home. Let them check out your AC to make sure it's running efficiently. And most importantly, this would prevent a small issue from becoming a very big, very expensive issue. That's why diagnostics are so important. And also, that maintenance will extend the life of your unit. I've told you this story before. We moved into our home in 2016. It's the original HVAC from all the way back in 1997. They told us it could die any day. It's been 7 years now and still rolling, thanks to River City's 1 Hour Air.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
What a pleasant surprise this was to see LSU announce that Simone Augustus is joining Kim Mulkey's staff. Kim Mulkey is going to be here at 4:15 Central, so about a half an hour from right now she'll join us. But we'll get some perspective on Money Moan joining Kim Mulkey's staff. It's just so rare that a star player ever goes and coaches at their alma mater or with their franchise. The only time, we see times where alums go and coach at their alma mater. Like that is not altogether uncommon. It's the same sometimes even in pro sports. I mean, I can think of like Billy Martin, being the manager of the Yankees. But it is rare when it's a superstar, arguably the greatest ever. This would be like Michael Jordan coaching the Bulls, right? Like this would be like Tim Tebow becoming the head football coach at Florida. That's the thing that's a bit of an outlier. Now, we saw it with Steve Spurrier. He won a Heisman Trophy in the 1960s and went and coached Florida 30 years later, 25 years later. But that's why they're so readily available in your mind when they come up, because it is so rare. Magic Johnson coaching the Lakers for a minute and a half, but it didn't work out. I think this can absolutely work for Simone long term, and it has very much a Dawn Staley vibe to it, where Dawn Staley was an amazing basketball player, and she played at Virginia, but when it bided her time as a coach, got the job at South Carolina and made that program because she has been an amazing recruiter and a technical coach. I think Simone will have the opportunity to learn from arguably the greatest women's basketball coach ever, if not the greatest, right there on the Mount Rushmore with the likes of Gino Auriemma and Pat Summitt. And Simone can learn how to run a program. She can certainly handle the basketball side of things, but how to run a program, and then just having that name. I mean, imagine Simone Augustus if you're a girls basketball player, a young high school girls basketball player, and Simone Augustus, who was a 2-time National Player of the Year. Her jersey is retired. There's a freaking statue of her outside of the building. She's also a basketball Hall of Famer, a WNBA champion, an MVP. I mean, like whatever credential you can imagine, she has it. And then she's the one coming to recruit you. It's like a Dion effect almost, probably without all the flair and everything that accompanies Dion. But what a brilliant hire by Kim Mulkey. I mean, she's got Bob Starkey on staff, and she's got veteran coaches that can handle the technical or tactician side. And like Simone's name, even if there was nothing other than her name, it's a massive success to have Simone there. But she's going to bring so much more as well, her ability to work with the players and help them grow, and then help her grow as well, and hopefully go into a very successful career as a coach. And the thing you have to remember sometimes, a lot of times when great players in other sports, retire, it's hard to turn off the competitive itch, but a lot of them in other sports generate mountains of generational wealth. So it's rare that you see players from those sports come back into coaching. Like Penny Hardaway is a great example of it. Jerry Stackhouse. I don't know Simone's net worth, but we know the highest end contracts in the WNBA are about $300,000, which I'm not saying that's an amazing living for 99% of the world. But you can't be done working in your early 30s forever when that's the money you're making. I'm sure Simone had endorsement deals, but my point is you still have to work. This is an opportunity for Simone to potentially begin a path along a very lucrative, potentially, career and doing something that she loves. So I love this in every way you can love this hire. So we'll talk to Kim Mulkey about it coming up here in about 20 minutes or so, and we'll look forward to that. But congrats to Simone Augustus, who joined the LSU, the women's coaching staff today. Again, so Kim Mulkey coming up in just a bit. 10 minutes from right now, Marc Weiszer is going to be here with us. He covers the Georgia baseball team. LSU, Georgia open up the SEC baseball tournament 9:30 a.m. Central Time on Tuesday in Hoover. So we'll get a thumbnail on Wes Johnson's squad there for Marc Weiszer coming up here, and again, about a little less than 10 minutes from right now. One of the greatest live events I've ever seen was UFC 148 in Las Vegas. It was the first UFC card I ever saw in Las Vegas, and it was Silva Sonnen 2. And if you are an MMA fan, you'll remember that. So Anderson Silva is considered widely to be the greatest MMA fighter ever. He was in the midst of 16 consecutive wins when he fought Chael Sonnen back in 2010. Sonnen was a massive underdog in the fight at UFC 117. And Chael Sonnen proceeded to beat up Anderson Silva for about 23 minutes or so. And then in the closing seconds of the final round, Silva got him with a triangle choke off his back. It's one of the most incredible finishes ever. I mean, it was like, if you were looking at the win probability, it was one of those things where the chart was like 99% Sonnen, and then boom, immediately it was over. I got to go to Vegas and watch the rematch, and it was an incredible live event to see Anderson Silva knocked out Chael Sonnen in the second round. But anyway, I bring all that up because Anderson Silva and Chael Sonnen are going to fight in a boxing match on June 15th. Silva's 49 years old now. Chael Sonnen's 47 years old. I don't know how many people are going to watch this. I'm moderately intrigued to see them reunite, but I'm mostly sad that Anderson Silva can't stop fighting. Because when you watched Anderson Silva in his prime, it was one of those things like with Tom Brady, where you knew you were watching the greatest to ever do it, but he also didn't know when to walk away. And so we saw Anderson Silva look very human at the end of his career, and now he's taken up boxing. He's lost to Jake Paul. He's 2-1-1 in his boxing career, and now he's going to fight Chael Sonnen. And it's a cash grab, and it's a marketing ploy, and I get it, and I'm not saying don't go make money, and if you have the competitive itch to fight and you want to go fight, and if people are going to pay you to see it, I get it. But it's also hard. Like, it's hard to look at Emmitt Smith in a Cardinals uniform. You know what I mean? It's hard to look at Jerry Rice in a Seahawks uniform. It's hard to watch Anderson Silva continue to do this, but I'll at least be moderately intrigued by how all this plays out. And it won't ever poison the memory I have of being there at UFC 148 back in the summer of 2012. All right, we're glad you're with us here. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. I'll knock out a break. We'll come back after SportsCenter, and we'll talk LSU, Georgia. Marc Weiszer will join us to give a preview of the Bulldogs baseball team. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Okay, y'all, it's Memorial Day weekend coming up this weekend. A lot of you are going to be hitting the road. Before you do, make sure your car is ready for that trip. If you need the tires rotated, if you need the oil changed, if you've been ignoring that check engine light, don't do it anymore. Take it to Shaw Bills. You got 18 locations across South Louisiana. You go to ShawBillsTire.com to find the location nearest you, ShawBillsTire.com. And if it's time for new tires, remember, as I always say, Shaw Bills will sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. They are going to find you the best tires on the road, Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Firestone, the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. They guarantee it. It's part of the Charlie's Dozen. It's the price match guarantee. Buy tires at Shaw Bills. You find them advertised somewhere cheaper, they'll refund you 125% of the difference. It's Shaw Bills. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The NBA's conference finals open tomorrow night in Boston. On ESPN Bet, the Celtics are a minus 1,000 favorite to win the East against the Pacers. In the West, the Timberwolves are minus 190 over the Mavericks. ESPN's Jay Williams likes Minnesota, too.
Their defense, when they kick things into gear, the thing you never question about Minnesota is their defense. It's finding their offensive rhythm. So when their offensive rhythm came into play, that second half turned into a different game. Look, this is the Minnesota team I'm going to pick to win the whole thing.
Jay Williams on Get Up. Rookie of the Year, Victor Wembanyama of the Spurs is a unanimous pick for the NBA All-Rookie team. Joining him are Chet Holmgren, Brandon Miller, Jaime Jaquez Jr., and Brandon Pojemski. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Chiefs wideout Rashee Rice is with the team for the start of the offseason program. He's facing a civil lawsuit connected to a freeway crash, and he's a suspect in an alleged nightclub assault. Auburn running back Brian Battie is in critical condition on a ventilator after a shooting in Sarasota, Florida.
Feeling great starts with a great shave, and great shaves start with Barbasol Shaving Cream. That's Barbasol Shaving Cream, an American classic for over 100 years. Close Shave America, Close Shave Barbasol.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Kim Mulkey, 15 minutes from right now. David Dellucci in 1 hour. Kendall Rogers also in hour 3. Bubble talk, SEC tournament previews, all that stuff. A lot to delve into. We know LSU will open up the SEC tournament, not only their tournament, but the tournament itself, at 9:30 a.m. Central Time on Tuesday against the Georgia Bulldogs, a team that LSU did not face in the regular season this year. Marc Weiszer covers the Bulldogs for the Athens Banner-Herald. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here, preview the Bulldogs. Marc, thanks for the time, man. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Excited for this week. It's always an entertaining week, if nothing else, there in Hoover. What at 17 and 13, what is the feeling that Georgia's playing for in Hoover this week?
Yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, they may or may not have lost the elite top 8 seed to host through the Super Regionals. I guess Baseball America, I think, had them 8 today, or was it D1? One of them did. Saw another poll that also had them inside the top 8. So you don't know if the committee is going to put a lot of stock in what happens in Hoover or not. They certainly feel like they're going to be hosting a regional, and that's a big step for Georgia.
When coaches go into this tournament, obviously a big part of how you approach Tuesday, if you're playing Tuesday, is what you're playing for. Are you setting up your pitching for the remainder of the week? Are you all in to win on Tuesday? Some coaches are kind of happy to bow out and maybe have a week off. How do you think Wes Johnson approaches Tuesday on the mound?
I think they're practicing in Hoover in a little while, and they're going to announce their starter for Tuesday after that session. I think what they're doing is doing nothing that's going to damage what they have, pitching-wise, come regional time. So, I don't think they're putting, all their eggs in the basket for Hoover. They want to make sure that the order of pitchers and the guys available are fresh for the regionals. That's the most important tournament for Georgia. Having said that, I'm sure they want to win as much as they can, this week, but it's certainly not an end-all be-all thing.
If you had to guess, best guess, who do you think gets the ball against LSU on Tuesday?
Well, it's interesting. Charlie Goldstein has been, injured here and there this season. If he's ready, they could hand him the ball because he hasn't pitched for a couple weekends. I don't know exactly what his availability will be, but other than that, I don't know if they're going to go with, Colton Smith, who started Thursday against Florida, or they want to give him another, day or two to get ready for his next outing.
Did this season, year one under Wes Johnson, at 17-13, obviously Charlie Condon, SEC Player of the Year, did this come as a bit of surprise, maybe more success from the onset than people had thought?
Yeah, I think certainly. I mean, Georgia hasn't hosted a regional since 2019, and yet it's been pretty much wrapped up for a couple weekends, right, for Georgia. They played very well down the stretch. They won 9 in a row. They went to South Carolina and swept there right after they swept Vanderbilt at home. Those are two programs that have won national championships in the last decade plus. And baseball is really important there. Baseball is important at Georgia too, but they haven't had the success. They haven't been to the College World Series since 2008. So, that he's had a pretty quick turnaround to get them to this stage. And, we'll see what they do in the postseason, but, it's not out of the question that they could get to Omaha.
Marc Weiszer is with us from the Athens Banner-Herald. It'll be LSU in Georgia, 9:30 a.m. Central Time on Tuesday to open up the SEC tournament. It's interesting. Obviously, everyone here knows Wes Johnson. He was part of Jay Johnson's staff a year ago, and he's noted as one of, if not the best pitching coach in the country. But Georgia set a single-season team home run record with 140 bombs. Outside of Charlie Condon's 35, where did this power surge come from in the Georgia lineup?
Look, they got 4 guys with 15 or more home runs. Obviously, Condon's head and shoulders above. But you had Corey Collins, who's been in the program for a few years with 18. Then you had a bunch of transfers that have come in and done their job. Slade Alford, Colby Branch, Dylan Goldstein. They have a freshman from the Atlanta area, Trey Phelps, that has 9 homers, but he missed, a few weeks with injury. And he's certainly, quite a talent for the, the post-Condon era at Georgia. And, it's not just always about the long ball for them. They have a transfer from Purdue, Paul Tates, that can, go baseline to baseline and is, can spray the ball around the park. And that doesn't necessarily, homer as much as those other guys. But, it's certainly a really good lineup around Charlie Condon, and they get on base. They're third, I think, in the league in walks. They lead the league in hits batsmen, so they put them on there.
What do you expect out of the bullpen? We'll obviously find out what Georgia and Wes Johnson's going to do on the bump to get going. What do you expect out of the bullpen on Tuesday?
Well, they got to do better than they've done recently. Florida had 12 runs, in one inning in the loss on Saturday. That wasn't all the bullpen, but the bullpen certainly didn't stop the bleeding. And it's an area that they need to be better at. Christian Maragna, had that incident at Texas A&M where there were cameras, picking up. Maybe he was doctoring the ball. There was no penalty. He wasn't taken out of the game, but he hasn't really been himself since then. He's been a little shaky out of the bullpen since then, and some of the other guys need to step it up as well.
If Georgia goes on, beats LSU, and advances, deep into this field, what do you think is the ceiling for this team this year? Is this a team that could threaten to win the national championship?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's certainly possible when you play tournament baseball, and they have some really good pitchers. You know, we mentioned Charlie Goldstein. If he can be healthy, he gives them a third really solid starting arm between Colton Smith, Leighton Finley, and Goldstein. I mean, that's pretty good. And when you hit the ball, score as well as Georgia does, you know, you can win any game. So it's certainly an exciting team, and I do think they have a chance. But, you know, they also could do like some of these Georgia teams have done in recent years and not get out of their regional. I mean, that's not a guarantee either. So, you know, I think there's a high ceiling, and I don't think there's a low floor. Certainly, this is a team that showed that they are a winning program, and, you know, the arrow is pointing in the right direction.
Marc Weiszer from the Athens Banner Herald. It'll be LSU and Georgia opening up the SEC tournament, the single elimination portion on Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. Central Time there at the Hoover Met. Marc, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for a couple of minutes.
Yep, good to be with you.
It's our pleasure. Yeah, I mean, it's 17 and 13 generally isn't going to get you in line for a national seed, but as you mentioned, and look, Georgia's RPI is 6, and one of the publications, they did have them as the number 8 national seed. So if you're Wes Johnson, it feels like you are very much playing for the opportunity to be a national seed, which is plenty of motivation. The flip side of it is you already know that your tournament berth and your regional host site is secured. You're not going to risk what may come beyond this week. Not exactly what as to what happened with LSU a year ago, but I mean, look, Paul Skeens threw 60 pitches in that game against Arkansas. They just weren't going to extend him. There was no reason. Like you knew where you were, you knew what your lot was, you had a national seed locked up. It was just, you know, loosen the legs a little bit and get out there and play some ball and get ready for the real season, which began, you know, after the SEC tournament. LSU, a decidedly more desperate team in the game tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. All right, we're brought to you by Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com, pure-restoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens. It's so interesting when I talked to I actually had a call with Jim last week from Pure Restoration, and you know they are of the companies that license this patented technology right across the country. There's about 200 of them in the country that license this patented technology. I'm talking about the non-toxic dry fog. Nobody in the country does more fogging jobs than Pure Restoration right here in Louisiana. I mean, it makes sense. We're the mold capital of the world. And they fogged one of the largest buildings in this state, more than 200,000 square feet. Pretty incredible when you think about it. But if it's a residential home that they can knock out in half a day or one of the largest buildings in the state, they can help you and everything in between. It's Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com, pure-restoration.com. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. David Dellucci in about 45 minutes from right now. We'll kind of preview the SEC tournament with Luch. And then later in hour 3, Kendall Rogers will be here. I want to go into the bubble talk with Kendall from D1. So we'll cover this, the SEC tournament and LSU baseball from every angle throughout the day today. If you missed it, we open up the show with my thoughts on LSU sweeping Ole Miss and where they stand right now. I know D1 Baseball has LSU in the field, and I did have some conversations today, let's say with people close to the committee, that the committee would have LSU in today, but that could very much change if LSU loses tomorrow. So I think there's clearly still work to be done for LSU, and you're going to be sweating bid stealers around the country this week. But you win that game tomorrow against Georgia, and you lock up your spot in the field. But my goodness, if you fall tomorrow to Georgia, you will be sweating out the remainder of this week, cheering for all the regular season conference champions to win their league, no bid steals, and hope that your opportunity is still there to advance. All right, we'll knock out a quick break. LSU women's basketball today announced Simone Augustus is joining Kim Mulkey's staff. Kim Mulkey will join us when we come back on AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling commercial or residential, think real estate, think Darren James. He's just the absolute best. Y'all have been telling you this. The housing market is starting to heat up. You're starting to have buyers come back into the market. We saw interest rates tick down a bit. That really sparked this wave of buyers. And you know what's going to happen. When the market starts to heat up, more homes are going to come to market. You're starting to see inventory come up. So if you're on the fence right now, if you're sitting on the sideline thinking about selling your home but trying to time it, this is the time. If nothing else, this is the time to have that conversation with Darren James about listing your home, a listing price, about your goals for listing your home, seeing how quickly you can get that thing moved. Darren will go over the entire market analysis for you and tell you exactly what your home will sell for and how quickly he can sell it. But you got to have that convo. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Loomis for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Simone Augustus went into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame last month. She'll go into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame next month. She'll go in the Naismith Hall of Fame in October. Oh, and sandwiched in between all of that, she's joining the LSU women's basketball staff. Kim Mulkey, always so generous with her time, and we appreciate a couple of minutes today. Coach, it's our pleasure. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. You know you're special if I stop power washing my driveway to talk to you.
Can I get some type of play-by-play of Kim Mulkey pressure washing her driveway? Like, what model are you using? How long does this take? What technique do you use? Got to get some deets.
Well, I can tell you I've been working on it for 2 days, and I just waved to all my neighbors and the
the garbage people wave and get out and love on me, and I love back. And then the UPS guy blows his horn, so I get interrupted a lot, but it's well worth it. But I'm too cheap to pay for somebody to come power wash my driveway.
We got to have somebody on the LSU media team go and get some video of this. That's got to be the next piece of content on the LSU women's basketball social media feed after, obviously, all the content about Simone Augustus. Coach, can you just give us some form of timeline of how this all came together with Simone joining the staff?
Yeah, my time kind of runs together. I think it was maybe 3 weeks ago. Right after Johnny Derrick announced that he was retiring, I just had a staff meeting and said, guys, I'm going to open this up for some suggestions and anybody's thoughts. And Coach Bob Starkey said it's time for Simone to come back home and get into coaching. And I picked up the phone and I called her and told her responsibilities would certainly be different than Coach Derrick, that I wanted her to be an on-the-floor coach, and the rules are changing in our sport on how many can be on the floor coaching now, not recruiting, but on the floor coaching, and that I certainly was not going to bring her here to sit on the sideline and just learn. Certainly she's going to learn, but at the same time, I want to pick her brain and let her skills and her knowledge be shared with our players, and gave her, 2 or 3 weeks to think about it. She's busy right now, guys. She is in 1 year being inducted into all 3 Hall of Fames, in Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, the Naismith, the granddaddy of them all. And so I wasn't about to rush her. This is something that she needed to take her time and make a decision. And we kept it quiet for a little while, and I wanted my players to learn about it first. So we Zoomed with them last night about 8 o'clock our time and told them and let her get on there with them and say hi to them. Of course, they all know who she is. You can't be in this sport and not know. But we're excited, and I don't know who's more excited, me, Coach Bob, or her parents.
Bring her home for sure. Coach Kim Mulkey is our guest. You mentioned a little bit of the reaction of the team. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what the reaction has been, not only from the team, but then what the reaction's been today with the announcement?
Now, you have to remember, this old coach doesn't do social media.
Right.
And the messages I've gotten have been from people that I know, just Kim, brilliant, Jean, wow, things all complimentary, but those people love me. Anybody that can say something bad about the hiring of Simone Augustus is just a person that is just ugly and just hateful, because there's nothing whatsoever but positive in hiring Simone Augustus. She's a legend. She's a humble person. This state means as much to her as it does to me, and LSU means more to her than anybody. This is where she went to school, and for her to be able to come back home, her parents are both still here. She's just loved tremendously by everyone in Baton Rouge and this state.
Kim Mulkey is our guest. Your coaching career, Coach, 40 years, you've had dozens of assistant coaches. What characteristics, when you're looking for a coach, and I get there's a lot of different roles, but are there characteristics you look for that you see in Simone that you say, it's not just that she was a great player here, I believe she can be a great coach?
Well, let me say this. I didn't have the opportunity to coach Simone. I only competed against her. I tried to recruit her, but didn't get her. So when you watch people from afar as a coach, whether you're watching them as assistant coaches or you're watching them as a head coach or even players, you see things in your eyes and things that you remember about somebody that may be different than what other people remember about somebody. And I have just always watched how she handled herself when we played LSU when I was at Louisiana Tech and at Baylor. I don't even know if we played them when I was at Louisiana Tech as an assistant. I'll have to think about that one. But anyway, I just watch how she conducts her business, and there's nothing boastful about Simone, and certainly she could be as boastful as anybody that's ever played this game. But she has rings. She has that experience. She has that humbleness. She has a quiet demeanor about her that when she speaks, you really, really listen because she's not going to say it real loud. And I just think that she's got so many qualities about her that will demand attention and respect right out of the gate. Even though she doesn't have the experience necessarily, let me tell you how I got started. Same way Simone is getting started. I'm working on my master's degree at Louisiana Tech after the '84 Olympics, and the president of Louisiana Tech, F.J. Taylor, sent campus police to my classroom and asked me to come visit with him. And he said, I want you to coach with Leon Barmore. And I turned him down. Well, he wouldn't take no for an answer. And, guys, look what I'm doing 40 years later. So you know the game. She knows the game. She just has to learn terminology and see how we do things. She's going to be great. I have no doubt.
Great story, Coach. I'm just going to take a couple more minutes if I could. Could you elaborate? I know you just said with the staffs expanding, there's different roles, with how many coaches can recruit and then be on the floor. What do you know yet what Simone's defined role will be on staff?
Yeah, pretty much. Simone, being a perimeter player, is going to work with our guards. And she and Coach Gary Reedus will both work with guards. Coach Derek never had to get on the floor. With the rules changing, we can now have 6, and in August they're going to vote again to where maybe all of my coaches can be on the floor coaching. Now, they won't all be able to recruit off campus, but they're all going to be recruiters on campus when we bring people to campus. So she will be on that floor teaching. She will be recruiting on campus. And she's going to be very, very good. She's going to be like a sponge. Just watch. She's going to absorb everything.
Coach, before you go, and your time so much appreciated, what is the rest of the schedule for you, the rest of this offseason before you get the team together for workouts, aside from pressure washing?
Well, I'm going to finish this pressure washing today and probably take some more time off this week. We're on the road. This past weekend was what you call an evaluation period. So we were on the road sitting in gyms. We will have our camp the 1st of June, and then there'll be another evaluation period in June. And then in July, we will have more evaluation periods. And then the first part of August, for about 10 days, I'm taking the team to Croatia and to Greece. And then school will start, obviously, toward the end of August. So it's around the clock, guys. There's never a time off. We do try to slip some time in there to take vacations. But with us going to Greece, many of us are taking our families, and that'll be our vacation this year. The good thing about Greece is I don't have to coach over there. We don't have to even play games over there. It can now, as the NCAA tells us, it can be a learning, educational experience. And so we're going to do a lot of wonderful things. I've never been. A lot of my staff, a lot of my players have not been to Greece and Croatia. Can't wait.
Sounds pretty awesome. Are you going to play games in Greece or no?
No,
okay.
We do not have to. In past, we would have to play a couple of games. And honestly, those games a lot of times were not very competitive, and you held your breath hoping people didn't get injured. This time, the rules are such that we don't have to play games anymore. Now, we will go to places and, do some clinics and things like that, but we don't have to compete.
Well, Coach, if you need a bag carrier or something like that, I'm available throughout the summer. You just tell me. I'll clear it with my wife, and I'm happy to carry anybody's bags and go to Greece with you as well. Just let me know.
You got it, and you tell your wife being with me will be the greatest thing ever because I will make sure you are doing things right.
Coach Kim Mulkey, the best. We always appreciate a couple minutes. Thank you for being generous with your time, especially on this day.
You're welcome, guys. Take care.
All right, be well. That's Kim Mulkey. Simone Augustus on staff. I mean, hat tip. She said Bob Starkey is the one who suggested it after Coach Derek retired. and says time to bring Simone home. And I'd love the opportunity to talk to Simone. Hopefully we get that opportunity soon to talk with her, talk through her decision or desire to get into coaching. So many questions there. Has that always been something that's in her mind? You know, Simone was such a quiet superstar when she was here, and candidly, I mean, we just didn't follow her career with the Minnesota Lynx. We followed her career, of course, but wasn't watching press conference, or wasn't covering her with the Minnesota Lynx. So, you know, was her personality in that organization different? So it's interesting to see how she'll transition into this part. Has she always wanted to coach? I think is a really interesting question. But we'll have opportunities, no doubt, to talk to Simone down the line. But really appreciate Coach Mulkey for taking some time away from pressure washing her driveway to join us. Okay, it's after further review. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. You know where to find them. Airline Highway in Baton Rouge, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Southwest Volkswagen, so for all you listening in Lafayette or Lake Charles, they're in Southwest Louisiana, Southwest Volkswagen. Or you can make the drive to Baton Rouge, or if you're in Baton Rouge, because they're Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. A lot of times, if there's a dealership that can make a better deal for you, it's worth the drive. So always start by logging on to the website, southpointvw.com. You can look at their inventory. You can work out financing. The big Memorial Day celebration is going on, 0% APR for 60 months right now on certain select vehicles. Check it out at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, thanks to Coach Kim Mulkey. Marc Weiszer from the Athens Banner-Herald was here earlier. David Dellucci, 30 minutes from right now. Kendall Rogers, 1 hour from right now. We'll preview the tournament feel with Luch. We'll talk about the tournament bubble, the NCAA tournament bubble with Kendall in 1 hour from right now. When we come back, ESPN's updated their post-spring football top 25. Where's LSU? What did we learn? All that sort of stuff. We'll tell you what the national guys think about it. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Thinking of hosting an event soon? You got to remember, Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. What kind of event? Doesn't matter. Board meeting for executives in your company, an office retreat, Renaissance right there on Bluebonnet, Watermark, downtown Baton Rouge. A wedding reception, maybe you're starting to plan for a wedding next year, next spring. Certainly get in touch with the Watermark Downtown. Amazing place. So such a beautiful piece of our city's history, and the Renaissance, which is it's modern and upscale and gorgeous no matter what size event you're looking to throw. They always say, we're in the business of saying yes. So they'll modify their space however they need to make sure they can accommodate you and your event. It's at the Watermark Downtown and the Renaissance on Southtown. Tell you about Tallulah every day as well. Great indoor-outdoor vibe and flow. You want to have a cocktail after work, glass of wine or some dinner, great place to do it at Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel. Check it out, the Watermark and the Renaissance.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal. a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Live After 5 is back this spring. Clock out and rock out with us Fridays from April 12th through May 24th in downtown Baton Rouge for the free concert series, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Join us for another season filled with incredible music, delicious food, talented artists, and a lively second line parade. This Friday, come out to see the Michael Foster Project for Live After 5.
All right. ESPN's got a post-spring top 25 up. We'll get to in a second. A couple of text messages into the show. You can always text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Bob asked, Matt, did I miss Chad Johnson being on the show? So first of all, for those that aren't familiar, we had a bet with Chad Johnson. Yes, Ocho Cinco, the Chad Johnson. He lost the bet. His part of the wager is he's got to come on the show, fly down here and come on the show. We're going to do the show at Don Juan. We're going to invite listeners. We'll sell a whole mess of his cigars to make it really worth his while. He's kind of ghosted me. So the last few times I've reached out to him, he hasn't replied. So I don't know, man. I'll keep hitting him back. I believe he's sincere about coming. I also believe he's a really busy guy. But I thought after draft, things would slow down, reached out to him. He hasn't gotten back. So I'll keep trying, and if I need to, I think RC can probably help connect the dots a little bit there. I don't know. I feel like I should give Ocho the benefit of the doubt. Like, I don't think he would just ghost me intentionally anyway.
I don't know, man. I'm starting to second guess it now. I really am.
He's always, but do you believe, like, he puts it the way he puts himself out there publicly? I believe he's a genuine person.
Yes, for sure.
Because of that, I don't believe he's ghosting me. I think he's probably busy and just hasn't checked. Like, this on his list of things I care about, replying to my DMs is probably 11 bajillionth on his list.
Yeah, probably.
But I also don't want to bother him. Like, I don't want to be hitting him every day.
Yeah.
I probably should.
Yeah.
Because he owes me.
He lost the bet fair and
Lost
square.
the bet, and he's acknowledged that, and he's like, I'll come. Like, when he does reply to me, the sincerity and the emphasis with which he replies suggests, no, he's all about it. It's like, no, it's like, yeah, I'm in. I'm in for sure.
All right, well, we'll keep holding out hope. But I am getting a little.
At what point do I go to RC?
I was going to say, I'm getting a little antsy with it, man. I don't know. I get it. He's busy. I understand.
Yeah.
It's just tough.
All right, Joe said, unbiased opinion. When you really look at all the info, there should be no way LSU misses the NCAA tournament, even with a loss tomorrow. UC Santa Barbara is 10th in the RPI, only 3 more wins than LSU, 3 quad 1 wins compared to LSU's 8. Blah, 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 blah. I get it. I understand all of that, Joe. I mean, I'm not even so much worried about Santa Barbara. But you can go up and down the list of teams that are going to be in the field. But the committee has to make a decision. are you going to regionalize the sport by putting every SEC team in because they're better? They just have not as impressive a record because they're playing in the best league. I mean, it's the same conundrum that's going to happen with college football because you're going to have teams that are better. So it's always been my thing about the G5 team getting into any format of the playoff or the postseason. Like a 9-3 SEC team is going to be better than a 12-0 Central Michigan or Western. Remember when Western Michigan made the New Year's Six? Like they were undefeated. Congratulations. You'd have been 11th out of 12 in the SEC. Only Vanderbilt. You know, that's the I guess SEC still would have been 14 at that point. Anyway, but you know what I mean. But the committee's not going to regionalize the sport. I mean, you should have 12 SEC teams in the field, but they're not going to put 12 SEC teams in the field. They're going to look at the resume as a whole. They're going to look at conference record, and they're going to hold things against because they want to make sure that the nation is represented. And so you're going to have West Coast teams in and West Coast teams hosting that stink, that if they were in the SEC would be sub 500. But they're not in the SEC. Same thing with the Big Ten. It's just what it is, man. There's no other way to say it. So, yes, I mean, LSU should be in the field every year. They're always going to have a team that's a top 64 team in the country. But it's the combination of best and most deserving. And so they're going to look at resumes as a whole as it's all put together. And it's just the LSU's fighting an uphill battle right now because of the 5 teams in the SEC that are 13-17. LSU is resume, like objective resume on paper, 5th out of those 5 with head-to-head series losses to 3 of the 4. So, yes, you have an uphill. You're still in the fight by virtue of your sweep of Ole Miss, but you still have work to do. And a win against Georgia, I think, solidifies it. A loss to Georgia, and I think you are desperately watching for bid stealers around the country and probably not going to get a favorable result. So I think, just my opinion, again, I think today, based on conversations I've had, LSU would be in. But they got to play another game. And if they lose tomorrow, I think they would be out. So we'll all find out. Just go win the game tomorrow. You are playing for a whole lot more tomorrow than Georgia is. And I think that's going to be reflected in how Jay Johnson manages the game and his staff tomorrow as well. Okay, we're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. Had great lunch on Friday with my friends over at First South Farm Credit. A lot of fun, man. And I got the numbers. I tell you all the time about the patronage refund. So the patronage refund is a dividend that they pay to their member borrowers. So just by borrowing money, just for financing with First South Farm Credit, you're going to get a check every year. And obviously the number on your check depends on how much money you borrow. But think of this year, they refunded $25.5 million to their borrowers. Go to the website. Go to the About section on their website. If you click the About section on their website, you'll see the news section on there, and you'll see the article about the patronage refund, $25.5 million. So just if you think about it, it's incredible that if you, for example, had a rate of 5%, that patronage refund effectively makes it like 4%. It's First South Farm Credit. They've been helping Louisianians buy land since 1916. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. Okay, y'all. ESPN put up a post-spring football. I got to do this quickly. Post-spring football top 25 power rankings. And not surprising, Georgia at 1, Ohio State 2. Of course, Ohio State had such a big portal year with Will Howard from Kansas State, Caleb Downs, the safety from Bama, Quinshon Judkins from Ole Miss. As much as we've talked about Ole Miss and what they've done in the portal, Ohio State might not have the quantity that Ole Miss did, but my goodness, the quality that they did is kind of unmatched. Texas, Oregon, Notre Dame, your top 5. There's Ole Miss at 6, followed by Bama at 7. Again, times have changed. Just without Nick Saban, Bama's never going to get the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying, I'll repeat again, I'm not saying they're going to be bad. I think Bama's still going to be very good. They could very well be a 10-win playoff team. They're just never going to be what they were under Nick Saban ever again, where consistently they're 1 or 2 every year. It's just never going to be that way again. Missouri, Utah, Michigan round out the top 10. I think that's way too ambitious for Michigan considering all they lost. Florida State at 11. I would say the same for Florida State. Penn State, NC State, and then there you find LSU at 14, which I think is probably right for LSU. I think they're a team that we're expecting the offense is going to be very good again. We saw that in spring. I think they're a team that defensively still has some very real questions that need to be answered. And if they're answered to the affirmative, I think LSU is a back end of the playoff team. I think they're right there in that 10, 11, 12 spot in the playoff as a 10-2 football team. So, and if you're in and playing your best at the end, awesome. You got a shot. But I think that's probably what we're looking toward for LSU this season. So I think that I can't tell you I know a ton about NC State. I know Grayson McCall came in from Coastal Carolina. So, transfer quarterback. We'll see how that goes. I think Notre Dame at 5 is vastly overranked. I think they have a real fight on their hands week 1 against Texas A&M. They brought in the quarterback from Duke, Riley Leonard, replacing another transfer quarterback in Sam Hartman. That can be very much a feast or famine type proposition. But we got a long way to go in talking season before the start of the college football season. But I like where LSU is. Probably on the outside of that playoff conversation looking in. Cautiously optimistic if you're a fan, but needing to see more from the defense if you're a voter that wants to put them into the field. But they'll have the opportunity early and often with this SEC slate. All right, y'all. It's after further review. Final break of hour number 2. When we come back, Muse will have Tigers and the pros. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Action Industries, a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Action Industries has been supporting the petrochemical refinery markets since 1982. Love telling you about it. ActionIndinc.com. That's Action Industries Incorporated. And the thing about Action Industries is, listen, there's some gigantic, industrial contractors in our state, in our area. And that's not Action, right? If you're looking for a 1,000-person job, that's not them. But if you have a 100-person job, you are their number one priority. So if you have a 100-person job, you hire one of those massive companies, you feel underserved, like you're not a priority, you need to get to know my friends at Action Industries. Their safety record is exemplary. They work with some of the biggest companies in the world. You need to check them out if you haven't already. Online or on LinkedIn. It's Action Industries, a proud partner of LSU Athletics.
I've been doing business with Loomis for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Wrapping up hour number 2, David Dellucci, 10 minutes from right now. Kendall Rogers, next hour right now. Muso. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Lot to get to today, but let's start with the NBA playoffs because Naz Reid put together a monster fourth quarter for the Timberwolves last night as they dispatched the defending champion Denver Nuggets. Naz with 11 points off the bench to go along with 4 rebounds and an assist. But what everyone's talking about is the sequence that began with a filthy putback dunk over Jokic, followed up by a Conley steal, and Naz Reid gets the assist to Anthony Edwards on the 3. Here's how the putback dunk sounded on KFN 100.3.
Faking on the double. Down to McDaniels, to Naz Reid left side. Back to Jaden, 6 to shoot. Ant's got it up top against Gordon. Frees himself, rises up. 3 ball the way. Off the rim, no. Slam, follow. Naz Reid, the 6th man of the year, comes soaring in from the wing. And he puts the Wolves up 89-82.
They would, of course, hang on. Naz Reid, he's heading to the Western Conference Finals.
Man, should have stayed.
Probably should have. Yeah, probably should have. To the WNBA we go. Angel Reese, another solid outing for her. 11 points, 9 boards, just missing the double-double. She will get one here eventually. Chicago Sky get their first win of the season. And, I mean, Angels doing Angel Reese things there in the WNBA. Major League Baseball, Aaron Nola gets another win. Another win. How about this run support, huh? You know how many runs the Phillies scored in his last start?
1.
11.
Oh, good.
How about the run support?
Double ones. Double unos.
7 innings, 2 earned, and 5 punch-outs for Nola. 11 runs of support. All totals into now a 6-2 record for the former Tiger. Alex Bregman. No.
That's right. I always forget about that.
Nope. Drew 2 walks and had a double in his most recent game. Astros got the win 9-4. This was the 10th double of the season for Alex Bregman as he continues to try to turn this thing around here. Josh Smith. There you go. Yeah.
I got one.
There we go. Got 2. You got 2 there. 2 for 4 in his latest game with the Texas Rangers. Both of those hit single, but he's still hovering around the 290 mark there for his average. And we're not done with baseball. How about this? Former Tiger Zach Watson.
Oh.
The next destination has been announced. And it's uncharacteristic, but it's a lot of fun.
Yep.
Zach Watson on his Instagram announced that he will be a member of the Firefighters. That's a baseball team, not the actual fire department. They will be the newest adversary to the Savannah Bananas.
Oh.
Joining the Party Animals. It'll now be a 3-team league. Zach posted a video again on his Instagram of him in the uniform doing backflips and catching fly balls. So this is pretty neat, man. You got Alexis Morris on the Globetrotters.
Yep.
And now Zach Watson will be on the Firefighters.
Yep.
I'm here for it. I like it.
Yep.
That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Even if you didn't get that graduate in your life a gift yet, they still got great options at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Tell you every day. You go to the website, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. If you scroll down on the homepage at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, you'll see the graduation tab right there. So even if graduation in the rearview mirror this past weekend, you still need a gift, go to Lee Michaels. They've got tons of things from watches and writing instruments and pendants and rings and bracelets, all different types and ranges and price ranges, affordable. Check it out at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, y'all, it's after further review, and thrilled to have you hanging out with us here on this Monday edition of AFR. Had a really good weekend. Hopefully you did as well. We got a busy 5 o'clock hour ahead. David Dellucci is coming up right after SportsCenter. Kendall Rogers will be here, and Cam Jordan gave an interview to NFL Total Access where he kind of elaborated on what he feels like Chase Young's role will be in New Orleans this year. So we'll get to that. So a jam-packed, chock-full hour number 3 coming right at you. If you missed it, Kim Mulkey was here earlier this hour. We'll get that interview up on demand at all the locations, podcast, YouTube, Facebook, etc. And it was a great conversation. Kim Mulkey was pressure washing her driveway. She took a break from pressure washing her driveway to talk to us. But Simone Augustus joining Kim Mulkey's staff, I'd say that certainly qualifies as massive news in the offseason. But some other tidbits there about what Simone's role will be, about the trip to overseas to Greece that they're going to take, which they don't have to play. The NCAA doesn't mandate they play games or practice anymore. They could just be like an educational trip. So they're going to do that this summer. And I might go and tote everybody's bags. She said I could go. We got it on record. All right, hour 3 next.
AFR.
Our Monday shows all year long brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. They do it all over at Relief Windows. And I've been telling you about this for several weeks now, and it's such a huge asset. Like, I'm a very visual person. So, like, you know, if someone said, hey, we could teach you to learn by either showing you, like telling you how to do something, or we could write it down, you could read how to do it, which would be the most beneficial? For me, it's visual. It's seeing how to do something. So these 3D models that Relief Windows has are so massively beneficial. You can set up a consultation with one of their executives there at Relief Windows. It's a 3D model of a home, and they can replace the windows, they can replace the siding, different colors, so you can see exactly what this would look like instead of like looking at a panel or a flip book. It's pretty incredible. And you can set up that consultation at reliefwindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, reliefwindows.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today. Or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Loomis for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The NBA's conference finals tip off tomorrow night with Game 1 in the East between the Celtics and Pacers in Boston. ESPN's Shannon Sharp says the time is now for the Celtics.
At some point in time, you've got to kick the door in and go inside. And there are no excuses. I don't want to hear nothing. If they do not win the championship this year, it is a failure of epic proportion.
Shannon Sharp on First Take. The Western Conference Finals start Wednesday night with the Timberwolves hosting the Mavericks. Every NBA playoff game the rest of the way is right here on ESPN Radio. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Oilers and Canucks play Game 7 in Vancouver tonight. Canucks winger Brock Besser not expected to play with a blood clotting issue. Coverage of that one at 9 Eastern on ESPN. Baseball today, the Blue Jays beat the White Sox 9-3. Danny Jansen drives in 5, including a 2-run homer. The Padres come back from 5-0 down to beat the Braves 6-5 in Atlanta.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
After further review. Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Matt Moscona.
Hey, Muse.
Yeah.
You're right over there?
No.
What's wrong?
Kept thinking it was not the top of the hour. I kept wanting it to be like a regular rejoin. I don't know why.
I think I know why.
I don't think you do.
Paulie. Hey, Paulie.
Yeah.
Why do you think Muse got confused if it was the top of the hour after we just listened to SportsCenter and we're playing the show open instead of a regular rejoin?
I don't know. Maybe something to do with 420.
That's 5:02 right now. Hitting pretty good right now, huh, Muse?
I hate it here.
Muse, are you high on gummies?
No.
Or are you high on life after this weekend, Muse?
I hate it here. All right, let's go.
Muse had himself a date, and it went well. Did it go well?
It went well. You're Matt.
I'll do the hosting of the show, all right? I'll move on from this whenever I gosh darn well please. I mean, I would have already been well into our interview with Luch if you hadn't screwed up the open and given me the opportunity to mention you being high on life there, Muse. Look at Paulie. Can you just tell us a different vibe about him today? A little carefree.
A little bit of a different vibe. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Got a glow to
little
him.
glow, smiling a little bit more. Maybe being a little.
I smile all the time.
Being a little forgetful over there, pushing the buttons because his mind's drifting off to another place. His happy place, as it were. You set a date. You don't have to play it again. It's good.
Okay.
We're good. I mean, we're 4 minutes into the hour.
Oh, well,
Well, what?
I was just going to keep going. I didn't know when you said you'd move on when you wanted.
Yep. You're not off the hook, Muse. We got to get deets.
I never believed I'd ever be off the hook here, believe me.
Good point. You're learning well. All right. SEC baseball tournament starts tomorrow. David Dellucci is with us. How are you, Luch?
I'm doing great. Getting ready for the greatest show on dirt, baby. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Hey, what's your role going to be in Hoover this week?
I'm going to be a studio analyst perched up high up in the right field. And fortunately for me, usually I work it alone from the crack of dawn until sometimes the crack of dawn. Jared Mitchell, former LSU Tiger, is going to be doing the morning. So right now I'm working half shifts. I got the nighttime, which is going to be great.
Luch, I looked at the week-long forecast. In Hoover, the only chance of rain, 40% on Friday. Dare we knock on wood or for Micah here?
No, that doesn't last. We're going to. The question is, what is the over/under on rain delays? It's usually 3. What is the length of the longest? Look, the very first SEC tournament I worked, we did the pregame for the morning show. I went in to take a deep breath because it's a lot to get at. And I get the producer yelling at me, "Hey, you got to get back to the set. We got rain coming in." We filled for an hour and 45 minutes on my first show ever at the SEC Network. So
I love it. That's so good.
I feel like I can handle anything after that.
Hey, who do you think, when you look at the bracket, does it shape up most favorably for?
Kentucky sticks out to me. I just think that the teams in day 2 definitely have an extra day to recoup after the weekend. This was a stressful weekend for a lot of ball clubs. But Kentucky, for some reason, they just seem like a team of destiny, man. They seem like they've played with a chip on their shoulder the whole year. Currently, they're projected as the number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. In the SEC tournament, they're the number 3 seed. So that ought to tell you how difficult it is to win in the SEC tournament. But a team that was not ranked in the top 25 until week 7, and they've just exploded. And I just think they're going to play to win this thing because the trajectory of that program is trending so far upward. This would be a huge notch on their belt.
What do you think about LSU's draw getting Georgia on Tuesday morning?
Whew, baby. That's a team that is extremely difficult. Offense off the charts. Charlie Condon, obviously the SEC Player of the Year. Just a masher, man. 451 batting average, 35 homers. But the cast behind him can hit as well and protect him. So you can't pitch around him. You got Corey Collins. You've got Slade Alford. I mean, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way down. Can hit the ball at the ballpark. And the pitching staff has done pretty well as of late. Not sure who they're going to throw. They've had some arm trouble, but they've got some guys that are stepping up. Colton Smith is a youngster that's really good. And it's the former coach Wes Johnson's team and an opportunity for him to go out there and make a name for himself. So it's a tough draw, But, man, LSU winning 4 of their last 5 conference series, 10 of their last 15 games, a team that pulled it through when they absolutely had to have wins. They pulled it through. They're playing their best ball. An LSU program that's won more SEC tournaments than anybody else. I think they feel like they need one more win to feel comfortable about getting into the NCAA 64. So it's going to be a great matchup.
You know, when you look at the 4 games, David Dellucci is with us, the 4 games tomorrow. LSU Georgia is one we're all paying attention to. Mississippi State Ole Miss in the evening will be interesting. I think we all agree Bama and South Carolina are both in no matter what. The other one where it feels there's a ton on the line, Luch, is Vandy, Florida. Both teams 13-17, Florida hovering right around 500. It feels like the loser of that game could find themselves out of the regional field. You have a feeling on that 8-9 matchup tomorrow?
I agree with you, Matt. The question is, what is the committee going to be looking at? I mean, they're going to line all those teams up together. They're looking at RPI. They're looking at wins, losses. They're looking at quad 1 wins. One of these teams absolutely has to win, absolutely. And what saved Vanderbilt, I believe, was the Game 3 victory where their offense scored 12 runs against Kentucky. I mean, they needed that. That could be a huge shot of confidence. Probably an offense that you wouldn't want to face when they're hot would be the Florida Gators. But their pitching staff has been all over the place. So that's a game, in my opinion, where just the traditional Vandy staff that throws strikes and plays good defense has a great chance of winning it. And then once they take it to the next level, then I think it's a team that can probably play with less pressure, do a lot better than they have the last couple of weeks. But I agree with you. All of those teams you can make a case for, but you have to get a win in the SEC tournament. And your RPI is going to jump. It'll jump so high that it don't leave any doubt with the committee. We've seen that in the past.
You know, Luch, we always look at teams. LSU a year ago is a great example of this, who they've got their postseason path locked up. Like LSU had a national seed already locked up a year ago. Skeens only threw like 60 pitches in that game against Arkansas. It was really just, hey, go stretch your legs and see what happens. But we all understand there's a bigger goal down the road. Which team or teams do you think are in that boat this year who may not necessarily have the go for broke mentality in Hoover?
It's the day 2 teams. I mean, Arkansas is in, they're top 8 seed. Tennessee's in, they're top 8 seed. A&M top 8 seed. Kentucky, we talked about them. They're playing for pride, but the ultimate goal, yes, you want to win this, but these teams are hungry for a national title, man. So I'm curious how are all of these teams going to stack their pitching staff? And every single coach will tell you that we just want to get out of here healthy and we want to get our work in and move on to the NCAA regionals until the first inning is going on. And a couple of years ago, it was Dave Van Horn who had Kevin Kopps, who was unhittable all year. And Kevin Kopps told us in an interview, Dave Van Horn said he's saving Kevin Kopps until the regional. And I'd be darned if he wasn't the first guy to come out of the bullpen in game 1. So there's so much pride in winning this tournament. You never know until the game starts how these coaches are going to put their players in.
Luch, can you speak to that from a player's perspective, what it's like playing in this tournament whenever, from the different approaches, right? From the guys that know their postseason path, the guys that are still, that like LSU, you feel like you very much have something still on the line?
Yeah, it's an honor to play in this tournament, in my opinion. It's great as a fan. It's even better as a player because you're playing against the best competition in college baseball. And most likely, the teams that will move on from here, when they get into a regional, they're going to go, gosh, thank goodness we're done with that SEC play because everything else is easier. The pitching you face at the next round is so much easier than what these guys are going to see. So this is like their last big challenge before they move on. Either move on in life or move on to the next round of the postseason. And to hold that trophy up, we've seen so many teams that have held that trophy up in the end of the tournament, exhausted, bullpen depleted, but they've held it up with so much pride because of all the teams that have gone there before. It's magical, man. It's a great tournament.
Dave Dellucci will be part of the coverage They're in Hoover for the next week, part of the SEC network. LSU and Georgia get it started off at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. Thanks, Luch. Have a great week, man.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. It's After Further Review, brought to you by Supper Club, supperclubbtr.com for reservations. Man, I had a great weekend over at Supper Club. They were packed to the gills all weekend long with graduation, people celebrating. Encourage you all the time to book that reservation. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, we had some neighbors over to the house, and we ended up talking about Supper Club, and they'd said they'd never been, so we're going to make plans to go. And I had to remind them, like I've told people, like, you don't have to be a member. There's the misconception, like, well, if you're a guy, you have to wear the sport coat. I tell you, that's not a requirement, a part of the dress code. Look, you want to dress up? Absolutely do it. You can go have a party night of your life at Supper Club. It's built for it. It's fun. It's a fun environment. You can have the most luxurious items you want. You want that Japanese A5 Wagyu I've told you about. You want $5,000 bottles of wine. They got it. You want an experience that you would only have in New York or Paris or Dubai. You can have it here at Supper Club. But you want to go and have the best steak you've ever eaten, some appetizers, bottle of wine, dessert. It's going to be roughly the same cost you'd pay at a comparable, white tablecloth fine dining restaurant in town. But the experience at Supper Club is absolutely unmatched. It's why people drive in from out of town to go to Supper Club. They're sophisticated, but they're playful. They're styled, but welcoming. One of the things I love when you sit down at Supper Club, the first thing they do, they don't bring you like 5 different types of bread with 18 different types of butter. You know what they bring you? French fries. Why? Because everybody can eat French fries. Yeah, you can have the best meal ever, but you can have the time of your life at Supper Club as well. So don't be intimidated, man. Book a reservation today. They thought of every detail. SupperClubBTR.com. SupperClubBTR.com. Closed Sunday, Monday. Reopening again on Tuesday. SupperClubBTR.com. Okay, y'all. It's After Further Review. Glad to have you aboard. Kendall Rogers. So previewed the SEC tournament there with Luch. I want to talk about the bubble. We'll do that with Kendall Rogers in about 15 minutes. D1 Baseball's got their projected field out after this weekend. They have LSU in, not even last 4 in, squarely in. So what does it mean if LSU wins tomorrow? I think we know his answer there. More importantly, what does it mean if LSU loses tomorrow? And who are the bubble teams? Who are the potential bid stealers we need to keep an eye on coming up this week with conference tournaments? We'll get to that with Kendall Rogers in 15 minutes. We're glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery, 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. It is safe to say, y'all, the heat is here. We at temps in the 90s this weekend. Listen, you got to take care of your plants and your flowers and all of your gardens and everything. Clegg's has the know-how. If you're not sure, maybe you're having an issue right now with some plants or whatever, maybe flowers. Go by Clegg's. I always encourage me, take a picture of your garden, take a picture of whatever issue you have. Go show. Find someone in a blue shirt, one of their horticulturists. They'll be able to help you. They just have all the knowledge, the know-how, and the best selection you'll find anywhere. Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. They're still getting shipments of new flowers daily to their greenhouses. Full greenhouses exploding with color. If you want to add that pop of color to your flower beds, your patio pots, Clegg's Nursery can help you do it. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Kim Mulkey was here last hour talking about Simone Augustus. If you missed the news today, Simone is joining Kim Mulkey's staff as an on-court assistant coach. Doesn't sound like she's going to be able to recruit. I got a question on the text line. You can always text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Terry said, how much will Simone make? Don't know that yet, and ultimately whatever contract she's given will have to be approved by the Board of Supervisors, and so we'll learn at that point the value of her contract. But just for reference, two assistants, Bob Starkey and Gary Reedus, both got pay bumps last year. So Starkey's deal is a 3-year deal worth a total of $1.03 million. So $275 to $355 to $400 over the 3 years of the deal. And then Gary Reedus, his contract was worth a $275 up to $305. So I doubt seriously in Simone's first ever coaching job she's going to make that much, but it's still going to be a very, I would assume, a very healthy low six-figure salary for Simone. Don't know the terms yet. When we know them, we'll certainly talk about them and pass them along, but that's what we have as of right now. Okay, it's after further review. Glad you're here. We will get to Kendall Rogers again in 10 minutes from right now, talk about the LSU bubble. On Monday, the Saints Hall of Fame golf tournament was going on. So Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis met with reporters, discussed a lot. But at the same time, Cam Jordan was a guest on NFL Total Access. And one of the interesting things Cam talked about that's gotten a lot of attention since is his new teammate, Chase Young. And when we look at the Saints defensive end spot, there's some things that are given. We know Carl Granderson has had a really solid last couple of seasons after the Saints paid him. Cam Jordan is still there after signing an extension to stay in New Orleans. You drafted Isaiah Foskey a year ago. And the big free agent acquisition, certainly the big name free agent acquisition this year, is Chase Young. And Cam kind of gave an opinion on what Chase Young will mean to this Saints team. Give a listen.
I think Chase Young is going to be great for our defense. We already got Carl Granderson, who's stellar this last couple of years. I think with growth, him being on the opposite side when he gets right physically, he's going to be another piece that we can add on. At some point in my mind, I'm spinning like it's got to be me, Chase, and Carl Granderson on the field at the same time on a crucial third down. I'm probably going to have to go in the middle. I don't care. Whatever that takes. I mean, like, I'll line up. I'll be that Zadarius Smith over the middle, roaming, trying to get active. I think it just adds another weapon to our defense.
I guess it's worth mentioning you also have Peyton Turner still hanging around, but what are we really expecting from Peyton Turner? He's a bust of a first-round pick. I think anything you get from him is lagniappe. You still have Tano Passanio on the team as well. But if you're looking at that rotation that you heard Cam talk about there, that's really interesting how that could play out if you get the three of them on the field at the same time. And I think it is fair to say, if you're looking at the Saints' defense, the interior defensive line does kind of feel like a problem right now. Now, listen, I'm not saying Cam Jordan is at 285 pounds going to become some dominant interior defensive lineman at this point in his career. That's not the case. But what he was talking about there very clearly was in certain pass rush downs, you stand him up and move him on the inside. And you see that more often. Those amoeba defenses, some call it like a NASCAR package where you get like 4 rushers on the defensive line, like all standing up, which has become very common. And you've had these hybrid players, guys like you mentioned Zadarius Smith or Micah Parsons, who can probably give you a mismatch on the interior in obvious passing downs. Because the problem, I mean, you don't need me to spell this out for you, but the problem with an undersized or a pass rusher moving to the interior is on run downs, you get pushed out of the way. You need space eaters. You need Colin Saunders, right? You need Brian Brzee on the interior for those downs. But when you know it's a passing down and you can get 4 pass rushers, well, now all of a sudden your elite pass rusher is a mismatch on the interior against an offensive guard, which maybe allows you to generate more of a pass rush from the interior. I think all of that, though, starts with the conversation about Chase Young's health. How healthy is Chase Young? And I don't know the answer to that question. He had neck surgery a month ago, or in March, I should say. How healthy will he be for offseason work? Like, whenever training camp starts, is he going to be there? Is the target week 1? If it is week 1, how long does it take to acclimate to a new defense? But if you even approach, what Chase Young was when he was the NFL's Defensive Rookie of the Year back in 2020, well, this is a steal on a 1-year deal. I mean, back in 2020, Chase Young as a rookie had 7.5 sacks and was a menace once he got going. The problem is since then, he just hasn't stayed healthy. After playing 15 games his rookie season, we've gone through this. He played in 9 games in 21, just 3 games in 2022, and then he did play 16 games a year ago, split between Washington and San Francisco, and had 7.5 sacks. So when we see like his rookie year and last year, when we saw him stay healthy, that's a guy that's pushing toward double-digit sacks. And I think that is a realistic possibility in this Saints defense. Carl Granderson is going to be on one side and Cam Jordan's on the other, but Cam is also, we saw him coming off his least productive year since his rookie season this past year. And it's a possibility that if you're in pass rush downs and situations, Cam has always been a great a great defensive end against the run. That's probably been as great as he's been at rushing the passer and the Saints' all-time leading sacker. But he's been a better run-stopping defensive end throughout his career in New Orleans. You move him to the inside and Chase Young to the outside, well, now all of a sudden you're generating a more formidable pass rush, which the Saints have lacked really, quite honestly, the last 2 seasons. So it's how they use Chase Young is going to be a fascinating piece on the chessboard this year. But the more interesting question right now is Chase Young healthy enough? Is he healthy enough to give you meaningful snaps? And at what point will he be healthy enough to give you meaningful snaps? So a little tidbit there from Cam Jordan as he was on NFL Total Access over the weekend. One other thing I want to get to here in just a second is about Michael Thomas. Quick reminder about Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, with more than 30 offices across 12 different states now. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, rents the products you use to weigh and measure. Tell you all the time, check them out on LinkedIn. Go check out their Facebook page. Go check out their website. Learn more about what they do. See pictures and different descriptions and testimonials from so many of their clients in so many different fields. You can learn the industries they serve. But remember, I love telling about their track system, which is an acronym, Track, Records, Assets, and Calibrations, that allows you 24/7, 365 access to all of your calibration certificates. So if you ever get audited, right there, boom, at the snap of a finger, at the push of a button, you have all of your calibration certificates ready to go, down to the name of the technician that calibrated your device. It's Michele Weighing and Measurement. It's a free service, by the way, and they're ISO 17025 accredited. It's Michele Weighing and Measurement, Michele.com, Michele.com. ESPN took a stab at the remaining free agents and their best landing spots, and they mentioned the Dallas Cowboys for Michael Thomas, so they can compete with Jalen Tolbert for the number 3 role alongside CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. Thomas, when he was healthy last year, was fine. 39 catches for 448 yards, scored a touchdown. And I love them targeting him or penciling him there as a number 3 role wherever he goes, which is what he needed to be in New Orleans as well with Olave and Shaheed. You needed Michael Thomas to be your number 3. He's not a number 1 anymore. And he was fine in New Orleans when he was healthy. The big question over the last half decade now is, can he stay healthy? And unless he proves that, it's hard to bank on anything in Michael Thomas. But perhaps Dallas could be a landing spot. We'll keep our eye on it. Okay, y'all. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back. Otter Locks in 15 minutes from right now. Jimmy will be here. We'll find out what we're betting on tonight. By the way, Jimmy's series play of the Pacers in 7 did hit, so a nice win there for the Otter. We'll see what he's got for us tonight as the NBA playoffs start moving toward the conference finals. Okay, grab a break. Come back. Kendall Rogers, bubble talk for the NCAA tournament. Is LSU solidly in? What happens if they lose to Georgia tomorrow? We'll ask the editor of D1 Baseball next on AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Rouse's. Hey, this weekend, every year on Memorial Day weekend, we have our Moscona family crawfish boil. Big family reunion on my dad's side. We always go to my Uncle Mike's house, and it's one of the highlights of the year for us to get to see so much family we don't get to see a lot of the year. If you're still having crawfish boil, the crawfish at Rouse's are awesome. You can get them live or boiled. Remember, they have in-house boiling rooms, so when you're buying boiled crawfish at Rouse's, it's boiled, fresh, in-house every day. You want those sacks to do it yourself, you can get it at any of the Rouse's locations. Call ahead to reserve your sacks at Rouse's, any of their 70 locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, and points in between. Hey, look, graduations were this weekend. There's going to be more still to come. If you're having that graduation party, everything you need is at Rouse's. All the party platters and trays, all the catered food, all the beverages, both adult beverages and non-adult beverages. You want that cake to celebrate your graduate? They can personalize it at the bakery. They got everything, y'all. It's Rouse's. This feels like home.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
He's here. Anyone want a Coors Light?
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, has landed in Hoover or Birmingham. Good enough to join us now. How are you, man?
I'm doing all right, man. Yourself?
Doing awesome, especially after seeing the D1 Baseball regional projections. Not only do you have LSU in, they appear to be squarely in, not even among the last 4 in. So tell me why.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing when I look at LSU is one of the things committee really looks at is, how did you finish your season? And I think if you look at LSU right now, it's a team that, won 4 of its last 5 SEC series. I think we would all agree that, especially the last few weeks, they've played at a much higher level. I'll kind of look back at the Alabama series, right? They lost that series. So why did they lose that? They lost because of a little bit of a mistake in the infield. 5-6 weeks ago, LSU wasn't just losing games because of that. They were losing games because they weren't very good. And so I think when you look at this LSU team right now, I think they're getting more key hits. They're certainly much better on the mound, at least the first 2 days, and with the bullpen with Christian and Griffin Herring. Just the pitching, just the whole team is much better. And I think if you're a committee and you look at LSU now versus what they were a month and a half ago, they're a totally different team. And so when you look at their RPI, you look at their finish, I think they're in good shape right now. That doesn't that doesn't mean that we won't have 5 stolen bids and all of a sudden LSU's back in trouble. But right now, I think they're looking pretty good.
I want to talk about the bid stealers. I'll get there in a second. You also have 11 SEC teams in. Is it plausible that a week from today the committee puts in 11 SEC teams?
It's plausible. I mean, here's the thing. If you're a committee and you think the SEC is as good as it is and you think you want to rely on the KPI, of course, the new rating system that I'm being told may end up being used 30 to 40% of the time. Well, if you look at the KPI, it actually likes the SEC more than the RPI. So if we're using those 2 metrics as your litmus test, and those 2 metrics love the SEC, 11 is certainly plausible. With that said, I think I'd be lying if I said that I didn't expect the committee to find a way to only give the SEC 10 teams. Well, what I mean by that is, if there's a mid-major there, if there's a West Coast team they can put in with a reasonable RPI and a reasonable resume, I think they're going to bump a 11th SEC team out of there, but they may not do that. But based on history, I would say they're going to bump somebody off that list. And, if I'm LSU, I would want to win 1 game here just to kind of make sure they can't go, because the goalposts always move, right, with the committee. Mm-hmm. You don't want the committee to be able to go, oh, well, they went 0-1 in Hoover and they didn't win a game in Hoover, because they can use that. So I would win 1 game here, and I think if they won 1 game here, I'd feel very good about them, I think.
The other thing, too, Kendall, is when you look at the 5 SEC teams that finished 13 and 17, when you look at all the metrics we talked about, LSU's 5th among them. That's why they're 11th. I mean, they could have been as high as 7. If they wouldn't have lost the game you just mentioned against Alabama with that incredibly bungled 9th inning, they would be 7th, and they would be squarely in right now at 14 and 16.
Yeah.
But it's a very different conversation. But Alabama, South Carolina, Vandy, Florida, they play each other. So two 13-win teams are going to lose tomorrow, which conceivably could maybe knock one of them out. I don't know about Bama, South Carolina. They both seem squarely in. You tell me if you disagree. But could the loser of Vandy, Florida be outside looking in?
Yeah, I mean, Florida's an interesting one, right? Because if you look at their high-level series wins, they're pretty good. I mean, Georgia, LSU, A&M. I mean, you're not going to find many teams in college baseball, maybe other than NC State, that would have that high level of series wins. I mean, I think Florida for me is in better shape than South Carolina. I think South Carolina, if you look at their trend line over the last few weeks, I think South Carolina, if they lose tomorrow, I think you're giving the committee a reason to leave them out. And I think Vanderbilt, for me, is another team that I feel like, if you look at the trend line again, the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, it's not very good. They have not been a very good baseball team. And so I think if they lost tomorrow, I think Vandy is the most vulnerable, because I think if they lose tomorrow, I mean, I don't know, when you look at Vandy, like, what are you putting them based off of? A series win over LSU 2 months ago in Baton Rouge? I mean, they have not been a good baseball team in about a month and a half to 2 months.
Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball. Outside of the SEC, Kendall, let's look at the potential bid stealers. Who are the teams that LSU fans need to be rooting for?
Yeah, I got you some good ones. So in the American, you most definitely want East Carolina winning that league. You do not want a Tulane situation, which I don't think LSU fans will have an issue rooting against Tulane. But you don't want a Tulane situation where they run through that tournament and win that thing. That would make the American a two-bid league. The Big East, Connecticut right now is leading that, where they won the regular season championship. If someone else other than UConn wins that conference tournament, they are getting 2 bids in that tournament. Xavier on the bubble. I think they're out right now. But again, they make a big run in that tournament, and who knows, maybe they get in. And then, you look around the country, the Pac-12 is a really interesting one for me, because we have 3 teams in today in our projections: Oregon State, Oregon, Arizona. If anybody but those 3 wins that, they're getting a 4th bid in the tournament. So those are the primary ones for me right now.
What about teams like Indiana State or San Diego, for example?
Yeah, that would be another one. I mean, the Missouri Valley, I mean, it's hard to imagine Indiana State not winning that tournament, because they absolutely dominated that league. But, yeah, that's one. And then WCC, of course, is San Diego. San Diego's RPI right now is like 23-24. They're most definitely getting in with their overall resume. So, yeah, that's what, 5, 6 conferences that you need to have your eye on this weekend. So, so hypothetically, let's say all of those conferences have upsets. That's 6 bids we didn't have. Guess what? We had the last 4 in today. That would be 2 more spots on top of the last 4 that we'd be taking out of the tournament. So that's why I say, if I'm LSU, I don't want to leave it up to a committee. I want to make a statement here while you're in Hoover.
If LSU beats Georgia, it sets you up to go jump Holman and conceivably get at least one more win there. You got to think those guys could get you at least 1 game in Hoover. So you win 2, it's a lock. Kendall, I think you'd agree. If LSU beats Georgia tomorrow, if LSU beats Georgia tomorrow, I think it would take a dramatically odd circumstance for them not to get in. I think they'd be in. I would
100% agree.
What if they lose tomorrow, Kendall?
I think they're still in, but they're going to need stolen bids to be at a minimum.
Okay.
And by a minimum, I'm saying you don't want 3 and 4. I think you start getting 3 and 4, then you run the risk of these other bubble teams, like the last 4 teams in today. What if they go on a run in their conference tournament? So, if you don't win, there's just a lot of moving parts that can make things a little tense on Selection Monday.
All right. You'll be there in Hoover all week with coverage?
I will. Who knows? We might see some Todd Peterson heroics from LSU.
Ted Peterson. I was a little delayed.
Here we go.
Just a little.
Attaboy, Musso.
Just a little.
Proud of you. I haven't done that in a while.
See, you're good at it, Kendall, because you're not as gratuitous with the Todd Peterson drops.
Ted Peterson.
You sort of preserve your Todd Peterson drops every 3-4 weeks or so. Then you drop a Todd Peterson.
Ted Peterson.
Well, I'm not going to say it again because I don't want to hear it again. But I'm in the city that TP created.
I love it. We did did you see Todd Peterson got the call up last week?
Ted Peterson.
He was advanced
Wait,
to.
he got the call?
Well, no, he was advanced. Where he got advanced to double or
double
to double A.
double A.
He got advanced to double A. So they didn't get called up to the big leagues. He got advanced.
Is it a hitter or a pitcher?
When it comes to Todd Peterson, you never know.
Ted Peterson.
All right, Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball. Thank you.
Oh, man, y'all be good. See ya.
All right, man. He's on Twitter at Kendall Rogers. Of course, D1Baseball.com. Otter Locks is coming up here. Muse, I would assume Musso at the box. Have you done a SEC tournament preview yet? Forgive me.
No, we're going to do that right after I get off air here with you. We'll go record it and drop it, and it'll live there. We looked at it a little bit when we recapped the Ole Miss series, but that was mainly recapping that, talking about the bubble and where LSU stands and things of that nature. So the Georgia preview will come tonight and tomorrow morning.
All right, so YouTube or your favorite podcast app, Musso at the box. Did you miss on Saturday?
No, I was at the game.
But did you miss a show?
I did miss a show on Saturday.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's the first one of the year?
Technically, yeah, because I did it from the wedding.
Tell you, I think his head was in the clouds, Paulie, on Saturday. I think he had other things on his mind. Did it enter? To go this long and to come to literally the final regular season game of the year.
Yeah.
And you missed an episode every day. I mean, every day for the entire season and the final game. Like, how could you let that streak end?
Well, I mean, it because I had Sunday to do it, and it was right there still. I mean, the episode did well. Like, I have no complaints on the performance of the episode or anything. I thought the content was good, and you missed
a day.
I did miss a day. I did.
You missed.
Sometimes other circumstances take precedent, Matt. I don't know
what circumstances.
I had a date, and I could not be late for the date. And I would have been late. If LSU would have run ruled Ole Miss like it looked like they were going to do after 4 innings, we wouldn't have missed the day. But when the game almost went 4 hours.
It was a long game.
It was a long game.
It was a long game.
You got Mike Bianco and Jay changing pitchers and calling offensive timeouts in like the 8th and 9th inning.
I know.
In a 6-run game.
Eric even said to me, "This is a long game." I was like, "This is a long game. Yes, this is a Jay Johnson special."
I was about to say Jay loves his long games, man.
But Muse, like I've told you, could have fired it up on the phone walking to your car.
I know. I could have, but I also ended up in like 3 or 4 different conversations on the way out of the stadium as well.
See, that's when I tell people, "Hey, I'm sorry, I got to fire up this live stream."
That's rude, man. I appreciate everybody listening and talking to me.
Then you say, hey, just follow me. We'll do this episode. You can be in the background. Here we go.
Yeah. Look, the streak ended, but again, everything went well with the episode, and I have no complaints there. So,
does it make it even more impressive that I'm 2 days away from episode 2300 of Morning Scone consecutively?
That is impressive. Yes, I mean it is. That absolutely 100%.
I think today was 2298.
How about that? How many years? Can you put a year? 6 years? That's good, man.
6. Shout out Stephen Miller. He's the one who reminded me of the anniversary. It was like April 27th or March 27th, maybe, of 2018. I've never missed a day. How insane is that?
That is wild. Because I mean, things happen.
Things happen.
Like that, life happens. Things happen, and
yes,
and that. So I mean, yeah, that's 20. What'd you say? 22? What? 97?
I think today was 2298.
2298. I mean, that's a lot.
That is a lot. So how did your date go?
The date went really well. We had a lot of fun.
Did you get married?
No, I did not get married.
You didn't elope?
No.
Why not?
Because
you strike me as the kind that would elope.
Really?
Yeah, you just say, you know what? I'm down.
After as much fun as you've seen that I have at weddings, you think I would elope?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Doesn't mean you can't have a party later.
No, I would never elope. I feel like my family would also kill me if I elope.
It's not their wedding. Who cares? It's your life, not theirs.
Yeah. Well, I'm not close to a wedding right now, so.
Sounded like it.
Yeah, I'm not.
And she was a collegiate golfer, by the way. How did it go at Topgolf?
She destroyed me all night long. It was great.
Yes.
I beat her in one thing. So I didn't get shut out.
You didn't get shut out. You didn't get shut out?
I'm a little too competitive to get shut out. I'm talking about the golf. I'm a little too competitive.
You said shut out. I thought maybe
to get shut out.
No,
so
it's a different thing.
Yeah,
I was thinking something else.
I got a little bit of a punch fade that can work well for me from time to time. We played a game that I could use it, and it worked.
Okay.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, it was a bloodbath.
Musso got crushed at Topgolf
on
his first date. That's awesome. All right, well,
Season 2 of The Matchler.
yeah, I don't think we have time actually. So well, tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yes, it's Tuesday, Muse. We've talked about this extensively. Tuesday is the least newsy day of the week. Yes,
That's very true.
There will be a Matchler installment tomorrow here on AFR.
Lord.
Okay, Otter next.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You've been injured in an accident. It's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Go to getgordon.com. Well, they haven't gone to getgordon.com for 3 decades because, I don't know if the website's been there for 3 decades. Maybe early internet. I'll have to check with the G team to find out. Either way, look, lots of members of the G team are going to be participating in Hoover this week. My goodness, Josh Pearson, Jared Jones, tons of members of the G team in the purple and gold will be suiting up in Hoover this week. So cheer them on. And remember, as always, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Don't go it alone. You need to hire an attorney that has experience in the courtroom, that knows how to fight to get you what you're entitled to. That's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. That's what they've done for 3 decades. So you can call them, 888-8888, 888-8888, or go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
When things heat up, you don't just want a cold one. You want the coldest one. The cold lagered, cold filtered, cold packaged one. Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Loomis for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
Otter, how are you?
What's going on, Matthew? Doing good.
I am pretty fired up. Our Pacers in 7-bet hit. Love to see that. There it is.
Look, 10-1, huh?
How did the rest of the weekend go for you?
Yeah.
Hey,
you know.
Golf not great. I know.
No. Oh, golf terrible. Golf terrible.
I know.
I mean, we had a long discussion, if the whole thing doesn't happen to Scheffler and he's charging them instead of some of the other guys. Could have been. Who knows? I got my opinion. Other people have theirs. But, X-Man, he did. At least DeChambeau got lucky. He had to make a putt, instead of just a little two-putt at the end. But, man, he wins his first one when Scheffler gets locked up.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of how many more would Mickelson have won if Tiger got locked up?
Would Olajuwon have a title if Jordan didn't decide to go play baseball for 2 years? I mean,
wouldn't, and the Knicks would have never gotten to the finals.
Right, there you go.
So, but there we go. Hey, we got some baseball tonight.
All right.
Atlanta is already started. So Houston and the Dodgers money line parlay. Houston is a little sneaky bet right now, Matt, to win their division. They've played so poorly. Their bullpen has blown so many of the of the saves, and Bregman had a horrible start. He's on fire. They're getting going now, so they're kind of American League West right now. Astros are plus $2.
1 minute remaining.
I got that one coming back at plus 107, the Astros-Dodgers money line parlay.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. So, and then Seattle Mariners. Pitching favorable pitch-win matchup against the Yankees today. So we're going to go with the Mariners there. Right. And then two games are in play, no score. I like the Brewers and the Nationals.
All right, Milwaukee and Washington on the money line. Milwaukee is minus 140 right now in game, and I'm looking for Washington if this clears. Washington's plus 130 on the money line.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, where are you tomorrow, Otter?
All right, we're going to be at Dozie's Place on Government Street in Mid-City.
Very good, right down the street from us. All right, Otter, have a great night. Thanks.
All right, good luck.
All right, be well. 4-pack there from the Otter. Muse, Paulie, I appreciate it. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, get to remind you about the Williamson Eye Center. Y'all don't wait. Do not wait. Call the Williamson Eye Center for whatever reason you're on the fence. If you've thought about refractive procedures, if you're tired of shoving those contacts into your eyes, if you're tired, look, you got vacation coming up, and you know what's going to happen. You're going to the beach, you're going to be fearful, just like I was for years. Do you really want to go in the water? Because what if you get splashed in the face, you knock a contact out? Do you have a spare pair of contacts? Did you forget it? Are you going to be wearing your glasses the rest of the trip? You know, the ones that the prescription's like 5 years old because you never go get it refilled? Like, I know. I lived that life for my whole life. And 6 years ago, I had LASIK with Dr. Blake Williamson, and you always hear people say, it's the best money I ever spent, best decision I ever made, wish I had done it years before. My hand's in the air. And so I'm telling you, don't wait. Here's your push, your shove in the back to say, just schedule that consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson at the Williamson Eye Center. WilliamsonEye.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana.